Oh boy. And here we go.
Golly, had to take that brightness down a
I gotta
notch.
adjust this even more. We
Let's
really came in hot tonight, y'all.
Adjust this, adjust these
Let's adjust this adjustment.
levels here.
Adjust the levels. Get it level. Get it even.
Yeah.
Sheesh McGreesh. The sunlight really picks up. Ow.
Speaking of pick up, I hope the mic picked that up because it was very funny.
You were not funny. It was not funny.
Oh. Hello.
Hey,
Hello,
y'all.
Pathos. Hello to our regulars and new viewers alike.
Hello, Pathos, who says, greetings, Stephanie and stranger. It is I. It is me. It's really me. I got a haircut yesterday. It was my first haircut since, it's about 16 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. Like, even when she was cutting my hair, as soon as she got all the mop top off, the girl cutting my hair was like, oh my God, it's like you're a different person. It's so weird. Like, she was noting it. It's very true, though. I'm always shocked by how truly, like, I really do just have two hairstyles. One is a mop top, shaggy look, and one is this, like, cropped Steve Rogers cut. And there's really, like, there's those two looks, and that's it.
That's it. You heard it here first. You are in a hair salon.
You are
Good
in a
evening,
hair
happy
salon.
haircut day, Munson.
Mm-hmm. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Holden Wook. Hello, Munson. Hello, Pathos. Shall we... Almost got a Clark Kent thing going on.
I like it.
Ooh.
That's what I used to. Let me try and do my Clark Kent.
Oh.
He slouches. Clark Kent kind of slouches. Yeah. I don't like the new Clark Kent in the movies because he's such a hunk. Like Clark is like 4 inches shorter than Superman because he like intentionally walks that way. But that always used to be my thing I would say about doing rap shows because people would always think that I was gonna suck because I looked like a nerdy white kid, and then when I didn't, I was like, that's because it was Clark Kent on stage. You know what I'm saying? You heard it here first. He's solid. He's a solid Superman. I'm not sure the weird thing about Henry Cavill as Superman is I feel like I'm like, he's good, but I always, I was a Smallville fan. Mm-hmm. So I was always just bummed that it wasn't my homeboy whose name I can't even remember right now. Oh my God, what's his name?
What was his name?
Tom Welling.
Tom Welling.
I wanted a Tom Welling Superman because Tom Welling is so wonderful as Clark. He's a perfect Clark. I mean, that show is about Clark.
Yeah.
But, like, that show is just so wholesome. I love it. It's the way Superman ought to be, not this angry, violent crap. Okay, welcome to the show. Hey, yo.
Say, wherever you're in a video store.
That's right. It's slightly after 7 p.m., and wherever you are, you're in a video store.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of your two clerks/hosts, Adam Protextor.
And I am your second clerk/host, Stephanie Thoreson.
And we do this every week. It is a streaming space for people who miss talking about movies with friends IRL to get to talk to them. And you know what? The world is starting to open back up slowly. We're both fully vaccinated now, which I think is the first... That's the first time we can say that. Because it was Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. So we've got a couple weeks until we're at full immunity, and then we start going back out into the world and doing things. We are going to go to Universal Studios. I think I'm just going to go ahead and say right now that we're going to bring the GoPro and make a little content about that day and put it up on our Instagram. So segue here, if you want to follow along with what we do, we will probably start expanding what we do in terms of like, let's go to a record store together. Let's go to digging together and maybe putting that up on our Insta. Or if you want to follow up with movie club stuff, it's at You Are in a Video Store on Instagram.
Yeah, I think, back in Texas, we did a lot of driving around and found some smaller retailers, some smaller video stores, and larger just older, mom and pop, small town kind of situation. I'm really happy to drive around California and do the same. I think that'd be really fun to take the GoPro along for that as well and sort of get some tours of surviving video stores around the country.
Yes. So the way you said that at first, it sounded like like we would be surviving the video store.
We would be surviving
just trying to survive some video stores.
Yeah,
Will our
Showstopper
wallet
Video
survive?
is survived by Stephanie and Adam, hosts of You Are in a Video Store
.com.
ultraloop.com/Twitch
//hashtag. Tom Welling did a cameo in Superman in one of the series. I didn't know that. That's awesome. That's great. That makes me happy. I'm glad that he's still Superman in one of those universes. What happened this week? Oh, I was going to say, as things open back up, we're going to still keep doing the stream. My point was that we might actually get the chance to see, like all of us, I mean, the collective we might actually get the chance to increasingly see friends and talk about movies in real life. We started this stream to provide a digital space for our friends and friends online. And I think that at this point, this community we have is like grown to a point where now this is hanging out with friends because we all live in different states. So with or without pandemic, this is the spot we're going to hang. I love that. We're not going anywhere. But I do think we will be, as you said. I love going, trying to hunt stuff down. I threw that up on TikTok and on our You Are in a Video Store. I have a video store I got to go to in Taylor, Texas a few weeks ago. Has it really only been 2 weeks since I was there? Getting back to the normal.
TikTok, Taylor.
Wow. Fresh.
Looking fresh.
Thank you, great job, nerds. It's transformative, to be sure, but I'm still the same old over-caffeinated surfer boy nerd, I promise you.
I'm over-caffeinated and underpaid.
That's right, baby. I might even have some green tea. I've been drinking green tea all day. I want to be what's the Danny McBride, Brad, you want to go? I've been drinking green tea all day, motherfucker. Well, thank you, Great Job Nerds. It's wonderful having everybody here. If you are a new viewer, or if you happen to be watching this archival, which, by the way, you can find on youtube.com/babylion. Side note, Baby Lion is us. We create a lot of stuff together. This is one of those things, and UltraLoop is the TV station, basically. So subscribe to UltraLoop for content every night of the week, including live streams, games, hangouts, sports talk, really everything. And then go to youtube.com/babylion if you want to follow our side projects and projects. But that was my side note about Baby Lion. So, if you're tuning into the show for the first time, first of all, it's a very stream of consciousness show. I just reminded myself of Drew Barrymore. Is he a pig? He sure eats like a pig in E.T. Anyway, we start the show off with What Did You Watch? We'd love to know what you watched this week. We'll tell you what we watched this week.
Yes.
Middle portion, we're going to tell you if we picked up anything new and fun for the physical media archives of the video store, new arrivals. And then finally, Movie Club, which this week, if you got a chance to watch it, was Enter the Dragon from '73 with Bruce Lee. We watched it last night. And then we'll pick a Movie Club week for next week, and the vicious cycle continues. Another link is added to the chain. So, I'm realizing right off the bat that I did not bring my normal water to the situation, and you did, because you're an amazing partner and co-host.
Well, as Adam mentioned, most of you know this show is extremely interactive. Please feel free to chime in, chime up, chime down in the chat throughout the show, but especially this first segment is really fun to just throw everything out there. What did you watch? And usually that leads to little side conversations. And that's how we do.
I would say that this show weirdly goes from no structure whatsoever to super structured. That's kind of, it's like, and we say this every week, but imagine that.
Like an upside down cone.
That's right. Like an ice cream cone
it's
with
funneling
everything's
down.
dripping to the bottom. And you bite the bottom and you can suck out the vanilla ice creams. I like to imagine that similarly to that it is, I mean, we're trying to replicate a video store experience. For what that's worth, to me, that means hanging out at a counter talking to your friends about movies that you watched. And then getting excited about what came into the video store that you get to watch. The movie club aspect, that's I'd say the most digital part of this. That is the glue that holds us together.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I'm saying is it starts with pure chaos. So if you are joining us for the first time, embrace the chaos. Like Steph said, there's going to be little side quests and crazy stuff. We typically stream for 2 to 3 hours, and that's that. So one thing I've been hung up on is everything in the what did you watch section trying to make a double feature for.
Right.
I'm doing that for a few weeks right now, and I really enjoy it. And I'm going to keep it up.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't always have like a double feature at the top of mind, but sometimes I do. One of ours in particular, I had like 3 in mind. Let's see if I can remember them once we get there.
For potential double features of what we watched?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just, I mean, it's like, it's kind of like a soft recommendation. Like, it's like, I recommend, or just, it's fun. Yeah. I don't know, movie games are fun. Also, we might ask you questions and ask you to respond in the chat. Pathos with $1 million question here. Did we watch Avalon? Stephanie?
I didn't. Did you?
I did. Not. Because I was waiting to watch it with you.
No!
And you kept saying, no, I don't want to watch that.
That's not true.
It's a total lie. Sorry. No, really, honestly, we just ended up every night kind of very impulsively putting things on. And the irony here is that I think the reason we didn't watch this is because I was trying to like give it the space to watch it like respectfully, and I kept feeling like it was getting too late or too impulsive, and I didn't just want to throw it on as I was falling asleep.
Yeah. Sorry for my squeak there. I'm hitting that 5 p.m. blood sugar crash.
Well, I feel bad because this is the second time that we've pinky promised. Well, it wasn't a pinky promise. I've never broken a pinky promise, so I'm not going to retroactively throw myself under the bus for that. This is the second time, however, that we have promised Pathos that we're going to watch something and then drop the ball.
Yeah. We're bad.
We're bad about it. And I will pinky promise you, and I won't break this. Stephanie, will you be pinky? Okay. That's that I will watch Avalon within the next 7 days. But I understand if you want to unsubscribe and ban us. Okay.
Okay.
Great job, Nerds.
Awesome.
Is starting us off hot. And by the way, I do have a long list this week because while I didn't get around to watching Avalon, I stayed up way too late every night this week just throwing things on. I really actually have to readjust my sleep schedule in a major way because I have become almost like nocturnal movie watcher boy, which is not as fun after 4 or 5 days as it sounds.
Yes, the cold side of the pillow knows it well.
Is that about me not being in bed? It's also because we got that vaccine and got knocked out for a day, so I slept an entire day. Yeah. After getting that vaccine. Yeah. And then fucked up my sleep schedule. God damn it, Pfizer. Pfizer fucked my film festival. Wow. But all spelled like Pfizer.
Okay, let's get into this. What did you watch?
Let's get into it.
Thank you, Great Job Nerds, for starting the conversation, getting it going here. Let's move on through this list.
Let's do it. Okay. All that jazz. This is your first Bob Fosse movie. Loved it. This is a big one that I need to see. I'm actually a huge musical fan. We were discussing watching this. All That Jazz?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were, weren't we?
Yeah.
I think that's actually because Great Job Nerds texted me about it. So,
I thought there was
sorry, it's not as magical as you think.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, you could have lied for the sake of the stream.
You exploited me and made me believe in a slightly more magical world. Sorry, it's one of my favorite Community jokes. I love the Bob Fosse choreo that I've seen in other films, and I'm wondering now if I have seen a Fosse movie that I'm not remembering.
Oh boy.
It's weird, like, how Bob Fosse is tucked into this generation of musical musical filmmakers that I weirdly skipped over. And the reason I say weirdly skipped over is because my advisor and my advisor when I was in film school, Jesus, when I was clearly not in school right now. When I was in film school, which was like a theory school, not a production school, my advisor was like the U.S., maybe still is the U.S. authority on the musical genre, specifically in how he used. You guys might wonder, why is Adam so fucking hung up on genre theory and needs to break everything down? He was a big genre theory guy with David Bordwell, and he used musical theory and specifically sound design from silence to talkies as a formative film theory. So it's super influential for me. I took a seminar from him on musicals, and I love musicals, and I got them hammered into me in film school, is my point in saying all this. But weirdly, it was so focused on the 30s with the transition into sound, and then the 50s with the transition into Technicolor, that all the 70s stuff, all the big Bob Fosse stuff, the revival stuff, I really like hopped right over into like anti-musicals and postmodern musicals of the 90s and beyond. And the 70s was just this additional genre cycle that I completely missed, and it feels like such a big blind spot for me, with the exception of like the Muppet Movie, like family musicals from the time. Mm-hmm. But like musicals made for adults, specifically Bob Fosse. Okay, here's the big one I have seen from him. Cabaret. Love Cabaret.
And in the chat here, have you seen Cabaret from Great Job Nerds? So
yes.
There you go.
There it is. There it is. I have seen Cabaret. It's wonderful. Okay, so anyway, that was my personal history of why I feel so like, damn, there's like a whole decade of a genre I love that I just never was taught about when I was obsessing over it. And then, on to the next obsession, and you forget. It's the same reason I've never seen the same reason I've never seen, what's the name? The Searchers. Who's afraid of Virginia Woolf? What's a...
like a child.
I am like a child. Okay, all that jazz. I was... It's me weirdly asking if I can have some of that. Okay.
I just need a little injection of caffeine.
I do too. I know that it seems like I don't, but...
I'm very tired. Plus, I've been staring at a computer screen all day, so I'm having that wom wom wom. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You know the wom wom?
Oh, I know the wom woms. Well,
it's not a Myowell, okay? It's not a maybe. It's a matcha green tea.
It's a matcha green tea.
Hashtag not a sponsor.
I feel like all that jazz would be a fun double feature with Chicago, just because of the reiteration of that number and the fact that Chicago's numbers are Fosse numbers, right? Correct me if I'm wrong about that.
I think so.
But I feel like it would be a fun jump ahead if you do want to look through musicals to look in that direction. Or maybe I would say that Bob Fosse was probably also, if you want to go back, you could see Fosse was influenced by, which I would hazard to guess is the big Vincente Minnelli stuff from the 50s, the big Technicolor Minnelli movies like She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, or that's Western, sorry. Meet Me in St. Louis. The Bandwagon is a really big, great one. I'm always recommending I'm going to write that down. The Bandwagon might well be my stat pick this week. It's a fantastic old musical that I would hazard to guess Fosse was influenced by because it was Fred Astaire, but it was Fred Astaire in the 50s after Fred Astaire was kind of an old man, career speaking.
An
old man, and it's about him like revitalizing the love for musicals in a Technicolor world. I feel like it has Fosse. Plus, Vincente Minnelli was also a prominent musical director and gay filmmaker in Hollywood, and generationally, there's a connect there.
All right, I'm going to keep this train chugging, because if we have an aside like that for every movie...
Well, I wanted to do the double feature thing.
No, it's good.
You're right.
Let's just choo-choo.
Tough love received, bro.
All right, who's afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Never seen this. Again, big. I feel like Great Job Nerds. The last couple weeks, I feel like when you said what you've watched, it's been like, if I were to look through some of my favorite movies, it's like the ones that aren't on the shelf that I have never seen. Mm-hmm. It's like you're filling in the gaps for me, but it's making me really excited to want to watch these. I'm going to just write these down.
Same.
Love Mike Nichols. We've talked about Mike Nichols on the show before. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf is like, I know nothing about it. I feel like I know nothing about it. I don't need to apologize for that.
Yeah, I think that's been on my queue shelf, very dusty on the queue shelf, probably for 10 years.
I'm going to scroll down because honestly I want to be able to see if folks are commenting. From what I've read and heard, Fosse's choreography changed Broadway to find a new style entirely and was super influential to the theater scene back in the 60s or 70s. Yeah, I would, I don't know Fosse that much, but I would hazard to guess, I don't know why I've used that phrase 3 times now, that his theater career was in the 60s, moving into films in the 70s. Yes, we did watch the trailer for West Side Story. Oh, and thank you, also Munson, Fosse, Forever Love, Cabaret, and Star 80. We need to watch that
80.
too. Star is born 1980.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to watch every Star is Born. Actually, that'd be a fun.
How's that for a movie marathon?
That'd be a fun. It wouldn't be a fun marathon. And some love for Vinit's Great Job Nerds' watch list, which let's keep going through. Blood Simple. Oh, and the West Side Story trailer. Did you watch that with me? I watched it because I was in a hotel in Taylor, Texas.
Oh.
It was the Oscars. Literally, I was flipping back and forth between the Oscars and something else like Comedy Central because I was kind of bored by the Oscars, and there was a commercial that was like graffiti and U.S. and Puerto Rican flags, and like I thought it was another one of those because there were a few of these during the Super Bowl and during the Oscars. I thought it was another one of those like, the world is hard, love is what we have to do. Mm-hmm. We need to drink more Pepsi and save, and be progressive. Yeah, like I thought it was a corny, like honestly. And then I looked up. I saw on Twitter that the West Side Story trailer had dropped, and I looked it up, and it was that. And I was like, oh, I thought it was a Coca-Cola commercial. Anyway, I suppose that's the most honest thing I could say about it is even watching the whole trailer, it felt like it was it didn't feel like. I love West Side Story. It's one of my favorite movies. Robert Wise is a master. I'm not anti-remake in any sense. I'm not excited by that trailer. Mm-hmm. I'll see it.
Cool. I haven't seen it, so it is what it is.
Oh, someone just threw a little dart or something at me. Either they're mad or they think I bullseyed it.
I think there's always tomatoes splatting around her.
I'm glad. Have fun.
Cool. Blood Simple, first Coen movie. Loved it. So cool to see their early style and how they use some interesting shots commonly seen in campy horror. Oh, yeah. Man, that's be an interesting rewatch.
Blood Simple fucking rules.
Yeah.
I saw it like once, way back in the day. Yeah. How long has it been for you?
Long time.
That movie's great, and I totally see what you're saying, Great Job Nerds, with the style and the camp shots. Like, it really makes a lot of sense that the Coens and Sam Raimi and Frances McDormand and that whole crew were like homies. Mm-hmm. I think the story is that they lived together for a while. I could be wrong. But you can definitely see, like, the Coen brothers and Sam Raimi, you can tell that they were, like, film student friends. Because they're both having fun with that wild camera work. And it's so interesting to see. And for that reason, I'll say double feature, Blood Simple, Evil Dead. Because you get to see both of them with their wild camera work for totally different purposes. Blood Simple's, like, one of the slickest, coolest little neo-noirs out there. I would love to rewatch that.
Let's rewatch it.
I think it just got a remaster for the Criterion.
Uh-oh, I smell an upgrade.
I don't own it. There's no upgrade.
Uh-oh, I smell a purchase.
It's called an acquisition.
It's called expanding my collection.
It's a video store, Stephanie. Someday, honestly, the dream is that someday, the dream is that all films are easily, readily available for everybody for non-exorbitant prices someday. But should that not be the case, the dream with this would be that someday we can digitize it all and secretly give secret codes to send it to people who are looking for movies and film students and stuff. That's what I would like to do. No profit whatsoever. I just want to, at some point archive everything and then enter into a deal with universities, low-key, where I can provide students shit and make it free without getting sued into oblivion. That's the hard part. Bad Batch on Disney Plus seems fun, not as enthused as I was for Clone Wars Return. Don't know much about this. I saw it pop up, saw it in the Twitter feed being promoted. Looks like kind of a fun PG-13 sort of what about the badasses of the Star Wars universe cartoon. Seemed fun.
I know, really nothing.
I know the weird thing is, I feel, and maybe there's other people out there in the chat who feel this way. Great job, nerds. I know that you have continued to be a huge Star Wars fan in several arenas. I very much am movies, original trilogy. I couldn't have been a bigger Star Wars nerd as a kid. It was my life for a few years. And speaking of which, I'm going to grab that book real quick because I think it's fun. That book I just found at half price. Star Wars book.
Oh.
But I've just completely not kept up with the extended universe, the animated universe. I read the books, the novel, the stuff that's not canon. I read all those Ballantine books. So I'm just curious, I really know nothing about this. What do you recommend? And you've probably told me in the past, you absolutely have, but since I have trouble keeping track of it and it becomes overwhelming, anybody out there, great job, nerds, though, this one also goes out to you in particular. Are there any Star Wars shows that you think I should just watch that won't feel like a huge investment, but will be something I can, enjoy to expand my love of that world and capture the young villains? I'll be right back.
Okay. Shall I continue to move on through?
Well, yeah, I guess. I just also wanted to echo what Munson said, that Great Job Nerds really picked, just play the fucking hits this week. All that jazz, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Blood Simple. These are three, and I think that's why I'm a bit embarrassed that I'm so unfamiliar with two of them, because they're easily, three career-defining works from three legendary filmmakers. Four, technically. And now I'm really excited. They're written down. This is honestly what I love about doing this, is because I feel like most of the stuff that I've watched that was my favorite stuff came from hanging out with friends, literally at a video store, and having people be like, I just watched this, have you seen it? Mm-hmm. And you're like, no, I'm embarrassed I haven't seen that. And then you watch it and you love it.
Yeah. I agree.
It's all happening.
I agree. Word of mouth, baby.
Word of mouth. Wom.
Baby. Would you like me to grab your book?
No, I'm going to do it.
I feel like we're both, sleep deprived and loopy. I feel like we're, fussy little toddlers tonight. We're like, movies. No. Okay, fine. I will speak for myself. I feel like a fussy little toddler.
I feel like an 8-year-old boy whose babysitter just came over and he's like, come to my room.
That's very funny. So Great Job Nerd says, I'd say watch The Mandalorian and call it a day. I just like me, the cartoons, a lot.
But, that's appreciated. We do.
I feel like that's totally fine. If you are not, completionists, or you don't care to do a deep dive into a particular canon, whatever. I appreciate that. I appreciate being look.
I do too.
I'll do the work.
No, I do too, but I just also I feel like one of those cartoons is particularly beloved and I want to give it a shot. Mm-hmm. And I forget which one. Is it the CG Clone Wars? Is it the 2D Clone Wars? Didn't Samurai Jack dude, Jendi, make one? I feel so out of the loop with this. So anyway, I watched the Mando, but if there's an animated one, I will give it a real shot. By the way, here's the book. This is like just a great illustration of the level of nerdiness you could aspire to in the 90s as a Star Wars kid who, you know, was trapped in that cycle of Star Wars coming back after the special editions and just everything was Star Wars for a sec. This is a book that I had as a child that I lent to a friend in college and never saw again. I found it. It was something like $7 at Half Price Books in Austin on my trip back. And I was like, hell yeah. Anyway, this is a book of technical diagrams and blueprints for pretty much all the like droids and ships. Here's Jabba's sail barge. Droid ships, weapons, lightsabers, combined with a bunch of like technical. It's like a fake book of blueprints for all the technology. Schematics. It's real fun. But anyway, there was a point in my childhood where I could tell you like, well, if the rebels wanted to launch an attack on a Star Destroyer, they would simply need to find the air ducts.
In your childhood?
Hidden behind the... I don't remember where the air ducts are now.
So it looks like Pathos says, I will always recommend Star Wars Rebels. It is a time commitment, but it has some of the most well-written emotional moments I've seen in Star Wars, and also has my favorite Star Wars character of all time in the last 2 seasons.
All right. Word. And Pathos also saying, clearing me up, that Genndy Tartakovsky, I always want to call him Tarkovsky, obviously. I forget to add that "t" in there. Genndy Tartakovsky did do a short Clone Wars 2D. It was okay. Didn't enjoy the story, but it was beautiful. I mean, I'm down for that if it's short, too. And then Pathos has backup from Great Job Nerds. Rebels often say it's my favorite Star Wars canon storyline. You know what? I'm going to start with Rebels. I'm going to do it. Star Wars Rebels. Art of Star Wars from the 70s. That sounds great.
It does sound fun.
Well, cool beans. Okay, let's scroll back up. Pathos watched a few movies. Little Giants, The Great Escape, Werewolf, The Beast Among Us, and a special movie I found out existed 3 days ago called Blood Punch. I will explain. Do we have an explanation? Okay, here, Blood Punch. I've always been, I can assume there's a icon over it, a huge Power Rangers fan. One of the best series was RPM, and half the cast of Blood Punch is comprised of actors that were on RPM. It was so strange seeing them act in a gory adult horror movie full of swearing. That sounds very fun. I never watched any of the Power Rangers spin-offs myself. I was a huge fan of the original series, but I never heard of RPM. What differentiates RPM in the Power Rangers cycle? Because there were a lot of them, as well as Big Bad Beetleborgs and VR Troopers, and everything else.
Matcha green tea. It's a plant.
It's a plant. I've also never heard of Werewolf, The Beast Among Us. Is that a newer one?
I was going to say, last year, we did... in October, we did a werewolf week, and we watched a shit ton of werewolf movies, and I don't even think we talked about that one.
Yeah, not at all. Not only did we watch a shit ton, I did what I thought was like a comprehensive list of werewolf movies and watched through straight down to like episodes of Tales from the Crypt, Twilight Zone, and Goosebumps. Mm-hmm. Like, we're trying to figure out how werewolves were represented.
Yeah.
It looks like this is a straight-to-video horror movie from 2012. Director, Louis Morneau. French director? Or just French name? Joyride 2, Dead Ahead, Bet Your Life. Okay, so this is like from a straight-to-video like factory back in the day, which I kind of miss those existing in a little bit more of a high turnover scale. Used to be more of an industry that like existed, was the pocket industry of cheaply produced straight-to-video genre movies. Interesting. So how was that werewolf movie? And let's just go ahead and say Little Giants. Little Giants has been mentioned on here before, so much so that we've gone into a whole
kids
tangent.
Sports.
Yeah, about kids sports. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna twist that sideways this time and say I think a fun movie to watch with Little Giants would be Hardball with either Hardball with Keanu or The Longest Yard or The Replacements with Keanu. And I really don't know why. I just think that it'd be fun to have Keanu be part of this double feature.
I mean, I will not ever say Keanu.
I was hoping you were going to make that joke. Oh, boy. And The Great Escape is one of my favorite movies ever. That bit in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was so fun with Leo imagining himself being cast in the lead from The Great Escape, and they integrated him into the footage. It was a fun idea.
Yeah, I've never seen that movie.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
The Great Escape, I would say there are several escape break or prison break movies. And I think the big three across film history are Great Escape from the 60s, like redefining it, and then jumping forward, Shawshank, obviously, but it's different because it's not POW camp. But going backwards, I think a great double feature with Great Escape, you have two. If you want to stay in the same decade and do the same sort of like masculine, badass team of rebels and rule breakers, you could go to The Dirty Dozen, or even the original Inglourious Bastards, which is in itself a ripoff of The Dirty Dozen. You could also go to one of my favorite movies, Billy Wilder, Stalag 17. Sterling Hayden plays a badass POW prisoner trying to figure out who is the mole in the barracks. Great little whodunit prison break movie. And then finally, the one I would recommend above all is Grand Illusion, Jean Renoir. Literally the first movie in the Criterion Collection, so if you were a film nerd kid, you knew what it was because it was spine number one. But Grand Illusion is such a complete masterpiece about class and prison and war and the illusion of boundaries and borders. And I think a huge inspiration for Great Escape in terms of the interplay between the classes of officers and soldiers, as well as the kind of like dream team. And then finally, because I'm going to rant here because I love prison break movies, Man Escaped, Bresson. Man Escaped is, don't go into it looking for an action movie. It's a 60s movie from France. This movie's magnificent, but don't go into it looking for an action movie. But if you want to see a movie about a man in a prison getting out by excruciatingly slowly planning every detail, told almost in real time, with just tension around every corner, it's a quiet, tense little movie. Highly recommended. Anyway, I know you said we couldn't go off on little things, but I love The Great Escape, and I love that kind of movie.
That was a good list there. I do want to point out that we do have some Power Rangers and Werewolf Beast Among Us chatter in the chat. Chatter.
Why don't we scroll on down and check that out, Stephanie? Okay. Okay, first of all, I gotta scroll back up. Great job, nerds. Clone Wars is more beloved, but definitely Rebels is the best, like Pathos said. Some of the best arcs and best examples of Jedi philosophy. Co-signed by Pathos. So I will watch Rebels. Thank you. Seriously, thank you, Pathos. Thank you, Great Job, nerds. That's literally the answer I was hoping to get was, if you like Star Wars for its philosophical and emotional character arc reasons, which I do, watch this. I will. Thank you.
Nice.
Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
And Holden Wook just said, looked up Power Rangers in French. It's Power Rangers. Super disappointing. Hold on, though. Can we...
What is technically en français?
I don't know. Do you know?
No.
I didn't take French.
I did.
I
just said that like...
You said that like it changed anything.
I did. Okay. Yeah, I still have no idea how to say Power Rangers in French.
Okay, here, hold on. We are going to do this real quick, though. Google Translate. We're going to Google Translate from English to French.
Okay, I'm ready.
And then we're gonna have to sing it, and your accent's better than mine, so you're gonna have to lead us. But we're gonna try and sing the. Okay. Allez, allez, Power Rangers. Allez, allez, Power Rangers. Woo woo, Power Rangers, they mighty morphin.
Woo woo.
Woo woo, Power Rangers, they mighty morphin.
Power Rangers, they mighty morphin. Yeah.
Okay. Well, RPM was different because it embraced the YA genre, set in a post-apocalyptic future, and genuinely felt like a place where shit sucked, but people were getting by. That's really interesting. I had no idea.
That is cool.
I really know the Power Rangers universe runs deep, but I had no idea. I love that. I want to hear that. By the way, I showed y'all. That was one of the new arrivals last week. Was sealed Power Rangers Christmas tape.
Oh yeah,
which
yeah.
Funnily enough.
Funnily.
I mean, it's not funnily though. It's
just mumble.
Amusing.
Just
Funnily enough,
it's
a straight to video Power Rangers Christmas episode that wasn't aired on TV. So that's fun because then it's like, oh, the tape. You gotta have the tape to watch.
That's great. This French version of the Power Rangers theme song might be something that the Rebeats need to take on.
I think so. And you know what? Fuck it. I'm dropping a link to that right now because I feel like honestly, y'all, you're the target demo for this thing that we made 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
Oh, longer, I would bet.
Yeah, it feels like longer.
I wonder. Let's see how good our Google, our SEO is. The Rebeats need more allowance. No, Mo. Need Mo allowance. Here it is. 71 views. That is so
2 years ago.
Awful that it's only got 71 views.
It's sad.
It's really disappointing. Anyway, y'all, if you want to bookmark that is back when we first started Baby Lion, and we had a talk show called Slumber Party Club with our friend Jonah. We were really about 90s nostalgia, particularly for that show, and we did Stephanie performed. I think I just shot it.
Yeah.
But Stephanie and Jonah performed a cover.
We did. We recorded a cover and made a music video in front of a green screen for that cover. I think doing a piano-driven French cover of the Power Rangers with maybe some candlelight.
I love that. Maybe we can rent a Power Rangers helmet and have it be like smoking a cigarette.
Yeah,
but the cigarette just bonks against it. Pathos said that he was inspired to watch Great Escape because of Alon playing Metal Gear Solid 3 on here.
Oh, nice.
One of the characters is a huge movie buff and talks to him about movies over the comms. That sounds like a fun writing job to get to write in that character. That's fun.
All right. Let's see.
Okay, and we have the Fossies written down.
Yep.
Power Rangers doing naughty things. Many things the Power Rangers would never condone. Matcha green tea. It's a plant.
Drugs.
That's your new...
It's a plant.
It's a plant. Okay, Holdenwook. Hey, what's up, Holdenwook? We're going to talk about what you watch. We had a heavy documentary week and didn't watch any movies. But if you want facts about ancient Chinese shipbuilding, and I do, well, now you've put yourself on the spot. And go. That actually sounds fascinating. So you watched TV documentaries, I imagine. Sounds like a fun way to spend a week, viewing-wise.
Yeah. I would love to do... we've been going off on these little side quests or sort of themed weeks and months. I would love to do, at minimum, a documentary week.
Oh, yeah. Why not?
At some point.
That sounds great.
At maximum, a documentary month.
Whoa, documentary.
Documentary! Ooh.
That would be fun to do. I think, honestly, a documentary month might make more sense because then if we do it as a week, we're going to feel a lot of pressure to watch literally like hundreds of things, thousands of things.
Documentary ever made.
But if we treat it like the way we treated the Japan Week or Japan Month, it's like we kind of try and pick tent poles that represent the overarching thing.
Yeah.
So we could do, you know, we could do like a Nanic of the North. I want to watch that. It's one I haven't seen like that. Mockumentary from the 20s. We could do newer stuff. We could do Salesman is one I've never seen. Gimme Shelter's one you've never seen. Sounds very fun. Yeah.
I like Documentary. That sounds fun. Something new we can take on after Hong Kong.
Yes. Yes, and I do still want to keep going with Hong Kong. We'll get there. And Great Job Nerds broke down here also real life couple, Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, playing an aging couple in a volatile relationship where they continually verbally abuse each other. Sandbox movie, long takes, monologues, mesmerizing performances.
I have not seen that version of A Star Is Born, but I am dying to see it.
No, this is I see it's right there with Star Is Born. This is Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, it kind of fits the bill of A Star Is Born.
Yeah, so. Kind of. Different version. Yeah, I would love to see that. And if there's anyone who's a master at getting actors to tear into each other, it's...
we should watch that.
Mike Nichols. I wrote it down. I'm writing down everything that pops out. Yes. Elizabeth Taylor's best performance I've seen, but I've not seen Cleopatra. Did I bring Cleopatra with? I don't think I did.
I don't think so.
I had a stupid little thing where I collected all the Fox. I'll just show you because I think there's one right here. Oh boy. The drawers are getting full, Mom.
Oh, no, that's interesting. Holden Book says we got into Curiosity Stream, which is new to me. $20 for a whole year, and I'm a documentary junkie, so it's kind of cool. Sorry to pop in there with that, but I have not heard of Curiosity Stream.
I have not either.
I'm intrigued.
Write it down, dude. And the only reason I was flashing that is because that is the Fox.
Lenticular.
It's not lenticular.
I like to say everything is lenticular.
It's reflective slightly.
Lenticular.
It's not lenticular. But it is shiny and fun, and they only put out like 7 movies in that format, and they're all cheap, and it was just an early quarantine, like, I'm going to collect those. Cleopatra is one of them. Anyway, I didn't bring it with. But Cleopatra's been circling I'm writing it down. I want to watch all the movies, you guys. So little time in the day. Okay. Thought the new Power Rangers movie was okay. Great Job Nerds kind of great. Definitely overdid it. Thought it was fun, like the cameo from the 2 Rangers. I have not seen that. Did you see the new Power Rangers movie?
Mm-mm.
I didn't see it either. But y'all, I was a weird kid. I didn't see the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie from the 90s.
I didn't
with
either.
Ivan Ooze. I didn't see it. I literally and this is part of I never watched the spin-offs either. I literally ran home from school to catch the premiere of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on Fox Kids afternoon. Ran home, caught the first episode where they fight the big pig. Watched every day with my friend, was obsessed about it, had Mighty Morphin sheets, toys, loved the Power Rangers so much. And then as soon as that original series ended and they were like, it's a spin-off, it's Dino version or whatever, I was like, that's not my Power Rangers. And then the movie came out and it was with different actors. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't,
I don't remember any of this for the record.
It literally wasn't the same team. So that's, I think for me, it was like, oh, that's not my team. It's not, I'm invested in these 5 characters and Bulk and Skull. Anyway, and Lord Zed, and when they made the movie, I was so excited that it was going to be Lord Zed. It was this new character named Ivan Ooze, and I think I was at a weirdly, I don't know, I was a kid, but maybe weirdly cynical. I remember seeing the trailer for the movie being like, they just invented a new bad guy to sell Ooze to us because we like Ninja Turtles. This is lame, and I never saw it. I was like, I thought this is exploitative and not part of exploitative, exploitation, which is right.
Exploitative or exploitative.
I'll never know. Anyway, I never watched any of that stuff because I was such a diehard of the original series and just never bothered to follow the spin-offs, and so I haven't seen the new movie, the old movie, anything.
Me neither.
But were you a super fan? What I'm saying is this is a running theme. It's my same thing with Star Wars. Like getting obsessed with something, and then as soon as it veers off the path of like purity of the original thing, I'm like dunzo. Not following your IP around.
I'm not falling for your trick.
But I don't even know. It's not even a trick. It's just I'm not saying this to say look how cool, badass I was as a kid. I'm saying this to be like, why was I so picky? Anyway, oh, interesting. They were with the show from Mighty Morphin all the way to Lost Galaxy. I had no idea. So for me, it was just...
Oh.
So I'm wrong. Oh, Bulk and Skull were with them, where they became big heroes. Oh, that's actually incredible.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
That's really rad to be able to pull that off.
Yeah.
See? And if you watch
work
through something... Yeah, right?
That's what I think of these days. I'm like, oh, dang. Really spanned a long time.
When you see like Flo on Progressive commercials and you're like, what a dream job.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah. Flo on Progressive commercials. Okay, look, I know that people are like awful to her on the internet because she's a woman and she's a comedian and whatever else. That's to be expected. But man, one. Okay, I'm just gonna go off on my tangent about Flo and the Progressive commercials. One, she has been playing Flo for how many years now? Like probably a decade.
A while.
Also, for that character, she is in heavy hair and makeup. If you see her out of her character of Flo, she looks like a different person. So anonymity. So she has consistent work, anonymity. She gets to write and do her own shit on the side and play improv shows and just kind of like you feel free to move about the cabin. You know what I mean? Like, what? Dang.
So you're saying this person, even though she gets mocked by several people, gets
for being annoying or whatever,
paid mad bank for doing this role, has had the same job doing it, and gets to play improv shows while being independently financed by a side gig that no one really knows she's in.
And I'm sure if she wanted to like do an indie film or whatever, she could do that just for funsies because commercial shoots don't take that long. You just get to pop in like every couple months and like have a 2-day shoot and then just be like,
contract is like for that.
Just be like, I'm good. I bet she owns a house.
Oh, that's so fucked up that is such a marker of.
No,
like,
I know, and I honestly like don't.
No.
I'm just saying.
I'm saying the house ownership with our generation.
Yeah.
That like, when we were kids, I feel like everyone would be like, I bet they live in a mansion, and now you're like, I bet they don't rent. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just saying that the bar has been so lowered for our generation.
Truly, but also when that character Flo emerged, it was at a time where there was like a lot of transition with commercial work. Before, like in the early aughts to mid aughts, I guess, you could sustain yourself for 6 months off of one commercial.
Right.
Like now, doing a commercial because of the internet doesn't mean shit. Like I did a thing for and I got paid and it wasn't that much. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like you don't. I don't know. Whatever. I just think she got in at the right time. She has like. I mean, I'm sure I don't know her personal life, but I just think it sounds great.
That sounds. I love how much of a Flo stan you are.
You used to get paid like $10,000 just to be like a flash in a commercial, just to be like a split second in a commercial.
Right.
Like now you get paid like $250 to be there all day.
I did a commercial for blank and got paid $150. But I didn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah. And it also took like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But still, like...
But I wouldn't mind working that gig every day.
No, not at all. Anyways.
I'm just saying.
Enough.
Okay. Bulk and Skull went from bullies, outcasts, random jobs to cops to being monkeys, back to cops. I love monkeys just thrown in there. And then saving so many lives at the end of Lost Galaxy. Stood up to the big bads right in their faces knowing they had no chance. That's rad. I love that. Let's keep going through what was watching. And also, did you write down this Curiosity stream?
No, but I will right here.
See if maybe we can get that on the telly, on the TV. And I think we covered our chat, honestly.
I think we did too. It just, what
I'm not missing anything, am I?
Well, just what we watched.
Look like it. Yeah, well, what we watched. What we watched is coming up next. We're going to talk about that right now, Stephanie. So I got to look at my phone because that's where I keep my list of my watch-ems. Sweet Charity is another one Bob Fosse did, and I love Shirley MacLaine, and I also love Fellini, and it's a remake of Nights of Cabiria. Anyway, we need to watch that as well. I watched a lot. What was our movie club pick? Hidden Fortress?
No.
No, last week.
Oh, last week.
That's how I can tell because it's always the last thing to watch. So I watched this list.
Dang, okay, so
yeah, I watched a lot of things.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We watched a lot of movies. But again, a lot of these were like randomly thrown on at weird times, or I watched at different times, which is why we didn't watch Avalon, which we will watch, we pinky promised. Where do you want to start with this? Speaking of documentaries, why don't we start there?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this is one that Stephanie had been trying to get me to watch for a long time. And we finally did, and I loved it. Gaga, 5'2".
Gaga, 5'2". I highly recommend this documentary. I think it is. So it's basically chronicling the lead up to Gaga's. What's the name of the album? Her new album release and her Super Bowl show.
Oh, Joanne. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that transitional pivot in her career. And it's all kind of leading up to, it comes to a head with her performing the halftime show at Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I think this is a great documentary. I think it is a really interesting peek behind the curtain, especially in terms of mental health and how that manifests with pain in your body and what did you think?
I loved it. I was, I'm always suspicious of things like this, but there was, and just in terms of the marketing element behind it, because as you said, it was but the thing is that this movie felt like almost an after statement because it so much chronicles Gaga's pivot from art pop into Joanne, which is really moving from her Dadaist, crazy art fashion into just trying to be that next generation of your career. This is just me. I'm a songwriter, singer-songwriter, artist. And it was also around the time that she was working with Tony Bennett. And so she had kind of already done that. And that's what you see in the documentary is her doing that, as well as her coming to the Super Bowl and merging what she'd been known for with pop bombacity with the hey, but I'm not gonna wear something obscuring of who I am. It's really interesting seeing an artist redefine. I loved this movie. I found it to be pretty honestly took my breath away. Mm-hmm. The reason I say that I'm always cynical about things like this is because when it starts, you see that Live Nation was a production company on it. Live Nation is kind of a big evil conglomerate of live events. If you're an Austin person, you know the looming specter of Live Nation coming to buy all the local cool shit. As well as the fact that Lady Gaga herself was an executive producer on it. And the whole thing is about wanting to be seen as yourself. And so there is a lot of stuff that I think you could say is potentially, like any documentary, bending us towards what the filmmakers want us to see. And so, seeing her at her just vulnerable enough without being unlikable. And I mean losing her temper just enough while still being relatable is a better way to put that. Or being vulnerable enough without being alienating. Mm-hmm. There is this I'm showing you my real person. So, while I do think that every documentary, especially a documentary produced by a multimillionaire pop artist about themselves, is going to show us what they want, this did not feel like the 30 Seconds to Mars documentary, which I think is trash, and Jared Leto jerking off It also did not feel like even a Taylor Swift documentary, which wants to feel more grounded, but is clearly mechanized in a way to make it seem like everyone's besties. And this is just...
I feel like the Taylor Swift documentary is way more of like a... let me push you in this direction to make you feel something.
Absolutely. And I'm not even talking about the new one, which I haven't seen. I'm talking about the behind the scenes in the 1989 tour, which was like a 20-minute promo video she put out.
Yeah.
That's like her doing all the choreo with her girls with like little lipsticks on the carpet. And it's like so clearly meant to feel as though you and your friends could do this, you know, and to create that vibe. I agree with you. And that's why I'm holding that up as a contrast. Like, this felt more earnest, real rock and roll behind the scenes, like Rolling Stones documentary from the 60s, of any pop documentary I've watched lately. I legitimately love... Now, I've all said all this. I legitimately love Lady Gaga. I have been a huge Lady Gaga fan since she broke here. And while I fell off, again, this has been a running theme tonight, while I fell off and wasn't a huge stan after those first 3 albums, I've always really just thought she was the coolest. And this documentary made me love her more. So, you know, I'm just saying the cynical part, to be honest. But that is not to say that it didn't, like, leave me feeling breathless and that I didn't really love getting to see the side of an artist who is so known for being so larger than life.
Yeah, I feel like it's sort of more or less like a documentary for moving from a pop star to a legend. It's like...
I like that way of putting it.
Just literally ascending to legend status. I would double feature this movie with Amy, which is a tough watch. Maybe watch it first and then watch 5'2", but a great documentary nonetheless. Speaking of A Star Is Born, Star Is Born.
I was going to say Star Is Born is my pick. I honestly think, like, if you just want to bask in this, do it. Also, I think it'd be a really interesting double feature with Madonna Truth or Dare, which is Madonna's documentary from the 80s about herself, in which a lot of it is, like, her, like, the infamous her deep-throating a Coke bottle at a dinner party. Like, it's so much her, like, this is who I am. I'm naughty. I'm sexual. The Truth or Dare tour and movement being her most explicitly sexual, as well as the fact that I haven't seen it either. I've just seen all the photos and heard the music and seen the clips, but I know enough about Madonna in this period and the Truth or Dare movie that given the like beef she has with Lady Gaga, it would be really interesting to see. I think, and I say this not to pettily suggest that all art repeats itself, but actually to suggest that maybe Madonna needs to realize that Lady Gaga is doing something different. And I think if you compare these two movements, you'd see that.
I wonder if they've squashed that beef. Also, welcome back, Great Jump Nerds.
Welcome back, Great Jump Nerds.
We are talking about Gaga 5'2", the documentary from 2017, and just pitching our double features. I was saying Amy, and we both said A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
And
Framing Britney Spears would also be good.
Yeah.
A little bit sad. I think that staying with the Gaga is great. Oh, has the dog awoken?
Uh-oh.
We've entered the dog walks through portion of the night. You know, actually, do you want to hop over to your special part of this and I can try to join that Cold Town meeting briefly? Or should we just say we're not going to be able to make it? We can figure this out live. Honestly, I don't care.
Did they email you back?
Maybe. So, side note, quick aside, Stephanie and I are the Friday night hosts of... they didn't email back, but I said I was going to try and hop on. I might go do that. I might try to hop on the jump and just say, hi, everybody. Let us know what you decide.
Okay.
Well, probably not worth it, is it?
No.
Awkward just to jump on a Zoom call?
Yeah.
Look, y'all, side note, we are the Friday night hosts of Cold Town Theater, which is a comedy theater in Austin, Texas that has pivoted to doing digital stuff. They're in the process of potentially reopening. They're having a meeting about what the future of the digital space looks like. We're their hosts. They invited us to be there, but we only heard about it. Well, I only saw the email earlier today. And so, therefore, we're doing a show. It's with you, and I'll stay here.
And you just were gracing your ears with these beautiful dog noises here. Thank you, Blue Snowball.
Thank you, Blue Snowball. You're great. Okay, squashed beef. Not sure that would be tasty or not. We had smashed burgers, not from Smash Burger, but Mr. Beast Burger, which I'm tempted to reorder.
Mr. Beast, those smashed burgers were so good.
They were amazing.
And also their fries were really well seasoned.
I think I've maybe found, that's feels like we're trying to figure out what our spots are, and I feel like maybe my fast food, my burger spot out here is going to be Mr. Beast. What can I say? It was flipping great. Burger flipping great. And I love In-N-Out, but I don't love In-N-Out that much. In-N-Out's like P. Terry's, where I'm like, oh, we're getting that? That sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Pathos, for dropping that twitch.tv/ColdTownTV.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
They do have very good content, and we are the Friday night hosts. That said, we might have to change that sentence to, they used to have very good content because we don't know if it's going to exist in a week or two, so we're going to have to see.
Yeah, we'll see what. Well, I think either way they're gonna have people hopping on the Twitch.
Yeah.
It just might not be with the same schedule and regularity. But
I'm gonna shoot a quick courtesy email just because it's the right thing to do.
Okay.
But give me 1 second. Okay.
It's the right thing to do. Okay.
You don't have to wait for me. I'm just gonna stop talking for about 30 seconds.
Okay, I'm trying to remember. Adam has the list of...
Oh, I'm sorry. I left you hanging. I thought that, the Smash Burger, they are one of the best kinds of burger. I'm sorry. Here. This is actually perfect segue because the next movie we watch together is Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
International Man of Mystery?
No. The Spy Who Shagged Me. We talked about the first one last week.
Oh, we did! Oh, right.
It's still Austin Powers.
Yeah, I forgot that we talked about that last week. Yeah, we watched Spy Who Shagged Me and The Spy Who Smashed Me. Yes. Oh, Munson J, I think you're referencing the fries that I was talking about from Beast, or maybe just smash fries? Through smash fries? Oh. Spy Who Smashed Me? Okay, we're moving on. Spy Who Shagged Me, as well as Goldmember. Yeah, so I guess I'll just hop in. I feel weird.
I know it's weird. I'm almost done, but...
No, it's okay. So the second...
If one person can't talk about Austin Powers on their own, then why were those movies even made?
No. I just wasn't sure if you wanted me to wait for you.
You do not have to wait. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be as not awkward as possible.
I felt like the second Austin Powers was... I remember it from childhood as being... as being kind of the standout Austin Powers, but it actually was my least favorite of the three. I felt like it wasn't really true to the characters. It felt like it was trying a little too hard, and I gotta be honest that Mike Myers didn't seem like he was totally behind the Dr. Evil character in this movie. It seemed like he was sort of like phoning it in a little bit more. Maybe that's totally in my head, but it just felt like there wasn't as much like commitment to the case. I almost felt like he was breaking or slipping out of Dr. Evil in particular. That being said, the third movie I felt was more of a return to form and style, and while it sort of fell victim to, the borderline problematic look back and cringe on some of the things from the early aughts, it delivered a lot more. I will say that the first Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, is my favorite.
I will jump right in and say yes, thank you. By the way, I just want to let everyone know, because we're all part of this now, that I sent an email thanking them for inviting us, letting them know it was harder to duck out here than possible, and that we would eagerly await what they decided. So that email's sent. Good job, everybody. I would heartily agree that I always thought of Spy Who Shagged Me as being the big one, as being like, and that's because it was the big one. It was 1999.
Sorry.
It was, ooh, yummy. That sounds good. It hits me in many ways. The spray bottle with Mini-Me early on and the chocolate, like, that got me. It was like, whoop, ha-ha, like, reached into me and made me laugh. But I will say, Stephanie, I feel the exact same way. I always thought of Spy Who Shagged Me as being the big one. In many ways, it was the blockbuster one. Because all of the, the word of mouth from the first one had made it maybe not as huge of a hit in theaters, but by the time it was on video, a year later, because let us not remember that back then it took a while. So Spy Who Shagged Me, or first one hits theaters in 97. I remember seeing the poster at my local movie theater, having no idea what it was. Within 2 years, I definitely had an idea of what it was, and that's because the success of it on home video led to the second one, which came out in 1999 when all the studios dumped their biggest stuff, including Star Wars. Spy Who Shagged Me's promotional campaign played off Star Wars. There was literally a teaser with Dr. Evil sitting looking out a window that said, if you see one movie this summer, see Star Wars, and then he rotates, and it's like, if you see a second, see Austin Powers.
I remember that promo.
Right?
Even to this very day.
To this day. So it was going to be a big hit. Plus you had the Madonna song on there, Beautiful Stranger. They dove into that soundtrack and licensed the shit out of that. It was the big one. I think that in as much as that made it seared into our collective psyches at that formative age, it also hurts the movie upon rewatch because you can tell, like you said, it felt more like a written by corporate committee sort of thing. And the third one definitely does feel like a return to form.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny, while we were watching it, I said, I wonder if Mike Myers wrote this one. Can we Google that real fast?
Let's Google it real quick. Let's
because I know he wrote the first one by himself. I think the third one he wrote with a partner. I wonder. I'm very curious if it was a team of people or if it was just...
It was him and his partner again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, but that said, just because, a name ends up on the screenwriting credit doesn't mean the producers weren't heavily involved for the second one.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that it lost a little bit of the wholesomeness of the first one.
Yeah.
For me, it goes 1, 3, 2, and I think that wholesomeness really plays in. Like, even in the third one, the, dad stuff is enough to ground Austin again. In the second one, Austin is a caricature of himself, and Austin is already a caricature.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, when we watched the first one and we were talking about it on the stream, we kept saying, I think the second one is just all of the jokes, but taken to the next level, heightened. And it didn't really feel super heightened. It just felt like conceptually, it felt like all of those beats were heightened, but comedically, it didn't feel heightened.
Yeah, I mean, the one that I'm thinking of that maybe you are too is the running gag with seeing the dick in the sky. I think earnestly it's funnier in the second one, but it's also heightened conceptually, and if you know the joke's coming, it's not going to hit you the same way.
Yeah.
But you can see why, and this is also a very unironic time in American pop culture too. We are not going into things we have an unfortunate sickness that happened after the turn of the century where we go into everything trying to be smarter than it. And this was a time when we were not going into this movie trying to be smarter than it. And so, as dumb as that made a lot of things, there's also a purity of at the time it being you guys loved this, here's more of this. And I think that's why looking back at 2021, it's I didn't need more of it. I wanted more of the humor that made it work. But at the time, it's the telegram got intercepted, and they were instead of looking at what made the joke work, they looked at what the joke was.
Exactly. Yeah, there's that rule in comedy with particularly improv where it's if this is true, what else is true? This sort of just felt this is true.
Well, it's
this is still true.
Here's a good example of, I'm not going to be able to pick a pure example from Austin Powers right off the top of my head, so I'm going to make one up. But say you have a, oh my God, what's a classic joke? Interrupting cow. Knock, knock, interrupting cow. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting.
Moo. Okay, so that is the joke, right? And then it's as if someone said, People fucking love cows, dude. In this next one, we're gonna have a whole ass cow scene, and they all moo over each other, and it's like you got the semantics of what was there, but you missed the spirit of what was there. Mm-hmm. The joke is the funny thing. The first time you hear that knock knock joke as a kid, what's funny, what makes you laugh, hysterical, what makes children laugh, is that they're surprised by it, not that it's a cow.
Yeah.
I think that is and I think that by the time Goldmember rolls back around, they get like, oh, it's the surprise, not the cow.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love all of these movies, for the record.
Oh, what a fun trilogy rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Truly. I really love these. First one's also particularly evergreen.
Uh-huh.
And it's so heartfelt. The first one's like Austin legitimately mourning his friends and adjusting and having this sadness. And like I said, the second one with the father is a little corny with Michael Caine, but Michael Caine talks like this. And Beyonce's film debut, like, just such a weird thing. It's like seeing the Queen of England in an airplane.
Yeah.
You know. Just was that the Queen of England who popped up in Austin Powers 3? Okay.
No, definitely not the real Queen of England. Can you imagine being Mike Myers, like this guy, excuse me, who's like a comedian, SNL kind of, I'm assuming somewhere on the spectrum of awkward, whatever, doing this movie with Beyonce and then continuing to be Mike Myers, comedic genius, character actor genius, like great writer, full of amazing ideas, really obviously legendary. But can you imagine looking back and being like, I was in a movie with Beyonce?
Okay, I gotta tell you that I think of Mike Myers as being one of those guys who's never nervous. Like, I think of him as like a jock among comedians. I think he just shows up and he's like, yeah, let's work, guys.
I mean, he is like a professional through and through.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I think of him as like, I honestly think for him, he's like, I'm a legendary SNL writer, performer who had huge hits with Axe Murderer and Wayne's World, and now 2 Austin Powers movies. I'm Jim Carrey levels of comedic actor famous.
Yeah.
And here is one of the girls from Destiny's Child, this girl group, who's doing okay.
No.
But like now,
yeah.
But the thing is, like, we have that perspective, but like, if you were to look back on someone you'd worked with, say any of the number of people we've worked with got bonkers famous, you wouldn't look and say, I can't believe I worked with that legend. You'd be like, I remember when we did that thing.
Yeah.
I think Mike Myers, well, I guess what I'm saying is, like, I think for you and I being like, oh my god, I did something with Beyonce. But I just think Mike Myers is just like, probably thought of himself as like, as like an elder generation to hers. And wasn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I guess that checks out. Yeah.
I mean, think about,
I mean, really, it's just 2 legends in the same room.
Mr. Wayne.
Mr. Wayne. I can't do it. Michael Caine.
She was 15.
Mr. Wayne.
She was 15 years old.
15 years old. You know, like.
What do we for, Master Bruce? So we can learn to pick ourselves back up
Michael
again.
Caine does ASMR.
Michael Caine does ASMR. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to throw those images up real fast?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
From
oh my god, yes. OMG, you guys.
By the way, that's what I was waiting for earlier. I was like, are we talking about the movie? Are we doing the other thing?
We're doing the other thing. Okay, so we still need to come up with a little animated thing for this, but weeks ago, we did a new segment that Stephanie came up with that Holdenwook named for us. It's called You Are in a Clothing Store. Mm-hmm. And Stephanie, I don't know how to describe you, like, who once had in a previous life, owned a vintage store.
I ran a vintage store on Etsy and in real life, and did some styling on photo shoots and things.
Stephanie has a whole ass foot in the world of fashion that we never talk about on the show. We finally integrated it, and it's called You Are in a Vintage Store. And
in a clothing
store. I'm so sorry. You're in a clothing store, And it's basically teaching you how you can get the iconic looks from movies we've watched. So Austin Powers is full of iconic looks, but you went ahead and you chose some of the looks that were maybe not as well known.
I did. I know everyone knows like the blue velvet with the big white collar. I know that everyone kind of, has these like the fembots and all these things really just burned into their brains. But I just wanted to pick a couple of looks that I thought were maybe not the top of mind when you think of Austin Powers, and break those down for funsies and also for You Are in a Clothing Store.
So I'm going to go ahead and cover up my face here, and I will be your slide master as you walk us through these. Here we go.
Yeah. If you go to our Instagram at You Are in a Video Store, all of these slides have tags included, so you can literally shop the look. So this one, I just thought, man, this is like iconic, late 90s kind of transitioning into the early aughts style, like bust out the hair gel, y'all. I think this just is really fun. Like, I love a layered t-shirt moment. The charms I think his character have on his necklace are handcuffs and a pistol. This one is a little saw, but whatever weapon, pick your poison, choose your weapon. This is just a fun look, for now. I don't know. I feel like this feels weirdly modern.
This feels like very Gen Z to me, honestly.
Exactly. It feels very Gen Z, especially if you take... He's got these little earrings. His character has these little earrings. A big trend right now in fashion is huggy hoops, or baby earrings, or baby hoops. Typically, these are worn like kind of anywhere on the ear. So you can wear them up here, which is also like a big 90s thing up here on... What is this called?
The lobe.
Cartilage?
The upper lobe.
The upper lobe. Some people wear them all the way down the ear. Some people wear them on both ears or just one ear. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah. So this is a fun one.
I love this. I also love that the Kurt Cobain tee that you found as well.
I did do a lot of digging. This Kurt Cobain tee pick is very intentional. It is an actual vintage Kurt Cobain t-shirt, and the store is tagged. It is really hard to find vintage band tees that are under, $200, $150. I tried to find one that was actually in like a realistic range. Y'all, Kurt Cobain vintage tees, I'm not joking, go for thousands of dollars. I think this one's like $180.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I bought you...
But buy a knockoff, who cares?
Well, you say buy a knockoff, who cares? And I was just interrupting you to say that for your birthday last year, at the beginning of quarantine, I spent $150 getting you a vintage Buffy tee.
Which I love. I say buy a knockoff, who cares, if you're balling on a budget. Okay, this one is fun. I felt like I really loved especially this blazer, and just had to highlight this look because I'm a Texas girl. This is like that Southwest Western wear kind of moment. You could dress this up or dress it down. You could lose the jacket for a more casual feel, or switch out the cowboy hat for a different style of hat to kind of, take it out of that campy, almost costume moment.
I love it. This reminds me of a friend of mine and fantastic country musician, Greg Mullen. Particularly the blazer you've chosen and the hat you've chosen. And I like how... And Greg is a very fashion-forward, hip country, alt-country musician. So I think you really nailed bringing this ostentatious Texas gambler look, played by the inimitable Tom Arnold, down into a really hip space. I love it. I also love what Pethos is saying about a more robust Oz. Munson backing you up on the charm necklace. And apparently, Heather Graham's bikini, an exact replica of the Bond movie. I mean, that's got to be Ursula Andress in Dr. No, which is also the bikini that Halle Berry wears in Die Another Day to commemorate the 20th Bond movie, 20th anniversary, I mean. Anyway, so it's all connected. But I truly love what you've done here. It really does remind me of Greg Mullen fashion. I don't know if Nerds is on here right now, but he's seen Greg dress in this blazer.
Yeah. And, I gotta say, if you're gonna get something, like, speaking of spending money, if you're gonna get something like a bolo tie, like, I mean, you gotta keep it real. Bolo ties, like, artisan, handmade, like, actual stone and silver and leather are obviously expensive, but I gotta say, if you're gonna make an investment in a piece of jewelry, what a cool investment to make.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Next slide.
Great Job Nerd says, keep it Jade. Pathos says, do McCready from The Thing, and you'll see how incredibly priced his hat is. That is a beaver skin hat, I believe. And I learned about this weirdly from the Capitol attack when the insurrectionists... It's so weird.
Just to say that casually.
Just to say, when the insurrectionists tried to take over the U.S. Capitol in January, one of them was is a prominent right-wing blogger or podcaster, I don't know anymore, media dude, who had a beaver skin hat, and that was actually going around, was like, oh, they're trying to portray this guy, don't let this guy portray himself as working class to you. This is like a thousands of dollars hat. Mm-hmm. Keep it Jade. All right, moving along.
Okay, so to round out these looks, I really had to do like some classic 60s moments. There are two like photo shoot kind of montages. One is the opening sequence and one is during the credits. I gotta be honest, it was really hard to get these screenshots because the camera moves around so much and they like move from look to look and moment to moment so quickly. I'm like, oh my god, stand still for 2 seconds. But I managed to get some, usable screenshots for the last 2 looks. This is just so freaking cute. I love it. First of all, who doesn't love a bubble umbrella? Totes umbrellas, classic, it's not that expensive. I think it's like $14 to get one of those big, awesome bubble umbrellas. Not only fashionable and cool, you can also, it's very functional. Great coverage. You can see through it, so you can go full on underneath the umbrella.
I love I love bubble umbrellas because you get to see the rain.
I know. I love fashion and function.
Yep.
Okay, frosted lips kind of have come in and out of fashion. They're back in fashion right now. Kind of, I guess, at this point it would be like a 30-year rule with the frosted lip. It was very into the 60s and the 90s, and it's coming back now in the 2021. I will say for this look, she is basically nude under this little vinyl shift dress with like this twister moment happening. I don't think I would leave the house in a... This is just me.
This is a fashion look, not a street look.
Right. So to take it from the runway to the grocery aisle, I thought how fun to put a transparent capelet over a mod shift dress. Again, if it's rainy, that's cute.
You're covered.
Fashion, function, form. We love it. So all of these mod shift dresses are from... Oh my gosh. I am blanking on the name.
I'll look it up.
It's a company that does repros of 60s mod, primarily 60s mod looks, and they are all like so cool, so good. What is it? Chicks?
It's like Swinging Chick Shop.
Swinging Chicks Shop, yes. They do repros of all sorts of 60s dresses. And all 3 of these shifts are from their shop, so check them out. Baker Boy hat or a Newsboy hat. They're similar. Newsboy is a little more like puffy and puffy and pushed
and puffy.
Baker has a little more structure. Technically, I think she's wearing a Baker Boy hat in this photo, but it could be a Newsboy hat. Who cares? Get a hat. Don't get a hat.
Pathos has a Newsboy hat, which it sounds like was much less expensive. They almost tried to get McCready's hat, which was much more expensive than a $250 scratcher.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little story about hats.
Yeah.
To round us out.
Okay, and this might be my favorite
This
look.
is adorable.
It is so stinking cute. OMG. First of all, 60s inspired double eyeliner. You see this throughout, I think, all of the movies. There's a wingtip eyeliner. In the 60s, doing 2 wingtips was, I think, popularized by Twiggy. Just a fun look, again, with the frosted lip and a frosted eye, a nice baby blue there. So cute. Another mod mini dress. You know, I thought it would be pretty hard to like find this whole thing, to emulate this whole thing in one garment, so why not piece it together yourself? I've tagged the shop that makes these detachable collars, so throw on the collar. I would recommend getting a faux collar instead of like trying to layer it, because you don't want to make it bulky and also it'll get hot. So just get a faux collar and some black ribbon from a craft store, and you can totally make this look yourself, and it'll look like it came that way.
Amazing.
Who doesn't love a knee high? Who doesn't love a chunky platform shoe?
I love this look.
I love it too. I love it too. And that like chunky, making that shoe extra chunky is really gonna like modernize the look as well. So there you go. Get the look. Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. Check it out on our Instagram and shop all the tags at You're in a Video Store.
At You're in a Video Store on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I love this segment. I want to say I agree. Elizabeth Hurley is eternal.
And stunning.
She had a weird like moment in the 90s, like with not Bedeviled. That's a much different kind of movie. Bedazzled. Remake. And what else was she in? I feel like her and Catherine Zeta-Jones are two like beauties of this era that kind of just had a moment and then we don't see much anymore, and I wonder. But Elizabeth Hurley was a model first and foremost, was she not?
I'd have to do a fact check, but I would not be surprised in any way, shape, or form.
I believe she was. See, what is up with this? I'm too white.
It is like, I think we get like an hour of good lighting.
Yeah,
and
let me try something else. I have to run out to refill my popcorn. We should make popcorn for this stream.
That'd be fun.
I actually think that would, as soon as I say that, I'm like, people would hate hearing us crunch.
Hearing us crunch the popcorn.
Let me try opening this up.
That looks better.
Yeah?
Yeah, it works.
We'll do that. Cool. I'm so sorry, Stephanie. I have to run and take a pee.
Oh boy. Well, good thing I just talked.
I know. I was going to say, well, I didn't want to interrupt you by walking in front of you. So you're just going to have to keep talking, Stephanie, because I'm terrible at co-host.
Oh boy. Cool. I think so. I'm trying to figure out what movie to get the look for next. Speaking of, what did you watch? We'll get into this when Adam gets back. Excuse me. But we did watch, ladies and gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains this week, which was, I believe, like a month ago, Adam's staff pick. And I gotta say, the looks in that movie are killer. So that might be my next get the look to tackle. But if you have any movies or even moments in TV that you want to see, kind of get the breakdown there, just send me a DM or throw it in the chat. Yeah, super fun. Oh, okay, Pathos. What's the get the look challenge you have for me? Is it Power Rangers? Pathos has me on pins and needles here. Blade Runner. Oh, that's a fun one. I was just saying, throw what you want to see, get the look in the chat, and Pathos says Blade Runner.
That sounds fun.
I was just saying, I think that that sounds amazing, but the thing at top of my mind is moving through our What Did You Watch segment is, ladies and gentlemen, Fabulous Stains. I might need to dissect the looks of that movie.
Yes. Oh, and Munson was going to say Streets of Fire.
Oh, great.
There you go.
So fun.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to let you talk for a minute, because...
Let me jump in.
Every time we do this stream, I realize that I don't talk to people ever.
Yeah, we're in bad need of socializing more and using our voices. I am going to actually...
I'm gonna...
I think they're in that... Will you grab me that box?
Yeah.
Will you replace yourself with that box? Thank you so much.
Oh my god.
Okay. Should the animals just eat an early dinner?
Yeah, I'll just...
Okay, y'all. So, I will go ahead and jump in on this. What did I watch? I will try and make mine quick because we also have new arrivals to dive into. The new arrivals, however, you reminded me that I got to go to Amoeba Records Hollywood in their new location just a few days ago. It's really fantastic. Amoeba Records, if you've never been there, is one of the biggest record shops in the world. Maybe the biggest. I don't know. I don't think so anymore. Their big, iconic, original location in Hollywood had to close during pandemic, but they reopened. It's gorgeous. I found a lot of great stuff there. One of the things that they had, like 8 copies of, was that beautiful old 5-disc Blade Runner Blu-ray that has every cut of the movie. And I was very tempted to get it. It was a little above what I wanted to pay for something that day. But maybe we'll go back if we get down a Blade Runner tip, because I have really been wanting to rewatch that lately. Anyway, what did I watch? Well, I knew that a few of the things I watched went in the overflow box here. And sorry for the little dance you're hearing. The animals are eating. But not only do the animals appreciate being fed, Stephanie, but I appreciate you doing that to get them off our backs. Okay, I'm looking for the other movie I watched. It's going to be like this week because I just put everything back on the shelf stupidly before the stream. So it's going to be a real reach into the shelves kind of stream. Okay, 2 of the movies I watched. This was a fantastic double feature. I truly had a wonderful, wonderful time doing this double feature late at night. And it was a short double feature because these are both very short movies. First up, The Tale of the Fox. Here seen in its French title, Le Roman de Renard. Tale of the Fox. This is from 1937. It says 1941. Okay, 1937 original release. Had some touch-ups done to it, put out in 1941. This is one of the very first stop-motion movies. In fact, when it begins, there's actually a really fun little text on the screen disclaimer that says, "You are not about to see animation. This is a groundbreaking new technique in the history of cinema. This took 10 years to make." I did not realize it took 10 years to make. This is made by a guy named Vladislav Starovich, who is a Russian filmmaker who worked in Europe in the 20s and 30s. I've talked about him before on this show because he made some of my favorite stop-motion shorts in the 20s, including An Insect's Christmas, which I watch every year. And he was famous for using dead bugs and reanimating them with stop-motion to produce some of the first known works of stop-motion animation. The Tale of the Fox is a feature-length, 65-minute long French fairy tale, basically about a fox who's a real asshole. Like, essentially, the plot of this movie is a bunch of animals talking about how the fox conned them. But these puppets, these stop-motion puppets, or maquettes, or whatever, I don't know the term, are like 5 feet. They're like the height of a child. They're like my doll or whatever, my size dolls for little kids in the 90s were. These things are huge, like the behind-the-scenes photos. Painstakingly made. Also really has that weird, creepy, uncanny valley animal mask vibe that was really popular in the 30s. Like, if you have ever looked up old-timey Halloween costumes from the 20s and 30s and you've seen that weird, creepy, vacuum-pressed mask type full of that for the design. Reminded me of the 1930s Alice in Wonderland movie, which has similarly horrifying but impressive effects. I really loved this, y'all. I've been waiting to watch this for years. Honestly, I first heard about it back in college, and I could never track down a region-free player to play it on for a price I could afford. So having a region-free player has been such a blessing. I finally got this. Really loved it. And, of course, I followed it up with another movie that's a total masterpiece, Babe, Pig in the City. I have had friends... No, go ahead. Please. I have had friends tell me about Babe, Pig in the City and how much of an essential masterpiece it is forever. I think it's actually referenced in Buffy. I think the trio talks about their love for it in season 6. It's often known as the movie that was the sequel to Babe that was super dark. I thought this, not only was an exemplary kids movie in every sense of the word, featured some crazy great choreo with live action and CG animals in beautiful sets, a hugely imaginative world brought to life by George Miller of Mad Max and Babe fame, and just so wholesome, and certainly paved the way for things like Paddington. I firmly believe that if this movie was made now, it would be universally adored. I think that because of where it fell in the kids storytelling of the time, I actually read some contemporary reviews of this. A lot of them criticized it for having talking animals, for being corny, for a lot of the things that I think that were just this movie being ahead of its time, and people wanting Babe again, not Babe 2, but Babe one more time. And it's not that.
Hit me, babe, one more time.
That's too good. And I get that, Pathos, what you're saying, loved the original more. I love them both. I think that this one just hit me deeper, but not even to compare because they're both so great. However, you reminded me of a quote from Roger Ebert, God bless and rest his soul. I read so many contemporary reviews of Babe, Pig in the City. So many of them were negative. Roger Ebert gave it 4 out of 4. My dude. And his first line of his review is, the first hazard for the returning hero is fame, which is the first spoken line of the movie, which is the movie telling you, don't look at me like the first movie. I'm back. I'm a returning hero. I'm famous. It's going to be hard to top this. And he closes his review by saying something that I think fits exactly with what we're saying here, Pathos. Ebert says, I liked Babe for all the usual reasons, but I liked Babe, Pig in the City more, and not for any of the usual reasons, because here's a movie utterly bereft of usual reasons. And I think that's why it stuck with me more. The original is a classic, beautiful tale that you need to have this one, but I was just so thrown off by how much I dug every moment of this movie.
I was sad that you watched this without me. You threw it on pretty late at night. I thought we were going to watch it together, but then afterwards you said to me verbatim, I don't think you could have handled that. And as someone who cried at Killer Clowns from Outer Space, maybe I couldn't have. Maybe I can't.
Look, I just want to be real with you. There's some heart-tugging stuff done with baby animals that I just feel like would wreck you. That said, Stephanie, every movie we talk about in this house is one that we talk about watching together. So at certain times, I'm just going to throw something on. You got to fight for what you want.
Wow.
I'm trying to put that in an amusingly harsh way. Cat. Want to watch Blade Runner 2049? Got to watch it alone. That's great. I still haven't seen that. I picked that up on Blu-ray at a Black Friday sale for $4 and was like, I'm going to watch this over the holidays. And then, you remember that? And then it just ended up on a stack and I watched. Writing it down. Blade Runner 2049. All right. Okay, what else did I watch? Oh my gosh, I got to blaze through. Been having a real talkative night.
Yeah, I know. We're already at almost 2 hours.
I know. What can I say?
We haven't even gotten any new arrivals.
We will. Okay, another one that I watched is called, well, I don't need to grab it because it'll be disruptive, called This is Cinerama. This is from 1952. Okay, R.I.P. to the Cinerama Dome in Hollywood. That is closing really sadly.
Ugh.
But Cinerama was a cinematic process designed to compete with television during the 50s. We've talked about this before, but a big reason there's a lot of interesting things to say about the transition between television and film and how the two competed with each other. Cinerama wanted to compete with TV by giving you an entirely new viewing experience. So there are 3 cameras, one here, and one here, and the angle creates a domed, curved effect that is immersive, like an early form of IMAX, but actually distinct and better than IMAX, because whereas IMAX gets one large format picture from one angle, the integration of curves on this actually do create not just the illusion of, but a real immersion. And the Cinerama Theater was one of the few places in the world where you could see that true immersion. This is Cinerama is a 1952 movie that is basically plays like something like a World's Fair introduction of invention with movie clips. It very much feels like Howard Stark being like, look at the new future of the world. Through Cinerama, we can show you new sights like this choir in Rome, like these water skiers, like this. And then the movie ends with like 40 minutes of helicopter footage over different major cities and monuments in the U.S. I skim watched it. I honestly don't think I would love to watch this on a big screen for real, Cinerama style. At home, I do not feel that I was being disrespectful by skim watching it. If it's going to be 10 minutes of shots of the Red Rocks Valley, I can see a few moments of that.
This is your second skim watch of this, right?
Well, it was like I watched in earnest the first 45 minutes, and then I skim watched the next hour.
I remember you putting this on when we lived in Austin, and we had built a fort.
That was wonderful.
So we had the couch scooched up real close to the TV with a bunch of fort
and with this new
materials.
TV that we have. So the same company that put it out, which I have one of their discs pulled, so I'll show you. I really like this company. They're called Flicker Alley. This is another great title they put out of avant-garde movies. They have several Cinerama discs, but they're all kind of expensive. So I haven't tried to get into the building that world out. They have one, however, that is Bing Crosby hosts a trip to Russia called Russian Adventure, and I want to see more of their travelogue stuff, because this is Cinerama is basically like the overview. That's like the first episode of Planet Earth. Now I want to go watch there's another big one called Windjammer, which is expedition with the camera shot on a giant schooner at sea. I'm gonna watch. We watched Battle Royale. Mm-hmm. We watched Battle Royale, this bad boy right here that we unboxed last week. Watched the special extended director's cut. Stephanie, this was your first watch of this movie.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts?
I thought it was great. I mean, obviously, it's really dark, but I 100% see why people are saying, oh, so Hunger Games is just Battle Royale, but with makeup.
Right. Hunger Games is Battle Royale plus, Logan's Run, or plus if you
like a Tron, neonless Tron.
All you just take Battle Royale, and instead of being set on an island, set it in, set it in a dystopian, YA world.
Right. I thought this movie was great. I mean, I can see why people hold it in such high esteem, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to say anything new about Battle Royale.
It's not about not saying anything new on this show. It
well,
doesn't matter. Everything's been said.
I'll say it.
I'm just saying everything's been said. So I just don't want you to self-censor because you're worried that you might not have an original thought, because
not at all. Not at all. If I have something to say, I'll say it. If I don't really have much to say, then
all right. Well, fine.
You can read between the lines.
I'm going to talk about Battle Royale for a second. I love this movie. I think it's really cool that this director was so well known in the 70s for kind of helping redefine the crime movie and pave in a new era of Japanese blockbuster storytelling. And I think it's really cool that as an elder director, he came through and knocked this one out. Feels like a very Scorsese move to come out with this very hard-hitting movie in your latter career. Kinji Fukasaku, I think also, is the director. I think also Kateshi Kano. It's awesome seeing him. Such an interesting, unique person in the realm of cinema and Japanese pop culture. And he just plays this role with such like delicate menace. I love how all the relationships in this can veer towards absolute vulnerability and love or total violence at any moment. Kind of really making the real scary thing about this, in addition to like you can't trust anyone, is just like this is the dog-eat-dog world that a capitalist society is thrusting young people into. And I do think it's cool also for Kinji Fukasaku, as an older director, to be making such a radically progressive movie that's basically saying, what are we doing to the youth of today in our society, if not simply telling them that they have to kill or be killed in order to survive, and what's the value in that? Where is the morality and love in that? And so I think it's totally fitting that this movie ends with a Bonnie and Clyde style, like revolutionary spirit that is shot handheld and feels more like the wild youth movies of the 60s and 70s. Very much feels like the work of a master director at full control of his powers, and kicks major ass.
Yeah, great movie.
When we watched this, you said you were curious about how people felt when it came out. Was that because of like the
just simply because of the subject matter and the fact that
so violent.
It's so violent, and the actors are actual children.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, in the States, people tend to cast like people in their 20s to play teenagers, and these were actual like kids, very clearly actual kids, thrust into this like really dark world with a lot of intense violence and you know, I was just curious. People were like, well, what are we doing?
That's because you were curious, and then my first thought was like, oh, that's how people reacted in America. But I'm pretty sure it was like big enough in Japan, and then we Googled it, and I was surprised by how big of a hit it was.
Yeah,
the shit won the blockbuster that was nominated for the Best Picture of the Japan's Academy. It's kind of a hit from the jump, and I do think that, however, illustrates kind of a. Honestly, I think it illustrates more of a moral failing in America, because what people were shocked by this. It took a while for it to integrate, and part of the reason it spread among younger kids was the controversy of it. But we're not. Japan's like, yeah, we made a movie about a bunch of kids killing each other. It's fiction over here. It's not gun. It was weird watching this movie from 2000 with so much gun violence with kids, because from a Japanese perspective in 2000, it's total fiction. It's manga. It's hyperbolized violence.
Yeah.
It is not a real threat like it is over here.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting to, you know, kind of just to swing it back to something like Hunger Games. Like, Hunger Games was... It's essentially telling the same story. And, you know, it's definitely not as graphic as Battle Royale, like, visually, but they still show deaths of children. And I do think it's interesting, whether it's just time or whatever, that Hunger Games was something that parents were literally taking their children to see, like opening night in theaters.
Right. That's a good point.
You know? Like, where is that disconnect?
Well, the disconnect is that you put makeup on it. You make it fictional.
Yeah.
That's the disconnect.
Yeah.
And it does say something about, like, we only want to engage with violence when it doesn't look like how violence really looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the point you're making, but I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Battle Royale, wonderful. I watched a movie called Orpheus, which I'm going to grab from over here, Pheus.
Yes, Pathos, I do remember when I'm big in Japan shirts were a thing.
Once tried to run a Battle Royale style D&D game, but it didn't come to pass. Oh, everyone wanted to make everyone overpowered. Typical. I watched this movie. I had never seen it before. It's Jean Cocteau's Orpheus from 1949 or 1950, depending on where, I suppose. This was really super fascinating. I have my second Cocteau movie after Beauty and the Beast, which I love. This was definitely more of a poem of a film, whereas Beauty and the Beast is straight up a fairy tale. This movie was less concerned with being understood. It takes the tale of Orpheus and kind of makes him this everyman poet, everyman artist who is just beset about by the mythological forces of the creative process, nature, love, death. Do we need to lose in order to create? All that stuff bowed up in this beautifully Cocteau weirdness with a lot of fun visual effects, and especially the insistent reoccurring theme of the mirror. Love the idea that death falls in love with Orpheus and his poetry. I love the idea of there being different agents of death. I love the way that the afterworld is structured politically. I think to go too in depth on this would be to have a whole stream dedicated to poetry and film, and maybe we can get there on a future stream. But for now, I will say I would heartily recommend Orpheus to any fans of classic film, especially, or classic poetry, but especially John Cocteau. And I would say double feature this with Beauty and the Beast, the Cocteau movie from the 30s, which is amazing.
Baby-proof our kitchen.
We are going to have to baby-proof our kitchen. The cat's figured out how to get into a cabinet, and he just, the noise you may have heard was him crawling full ass into that cabinet. One of my players was like, I want to make a half dragon, half minotaur. They quit. Orpheus. Fantastic film. Austin Powers 3. Ladies and gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains. Do we have this disc floating around?
I think it's maybe by the TV.
I'm gonna grab, fuck it. Ladies and gentlemen, no, all of these are by the TV. I'm gonna grab them. Because it's 4 movies in a row. Oh, Jiminy.
Say hello. The cabinet in question, by the way, is where we keep his food, so we either have to move it, but this little one has a nose that knows. We either got to move it or baby-proof that cabinet, because he's figured out how to open the cabinet. And it's got a latch on it. It's not like just a cabinet that swings open. It actually has a latch on it. So, wow.
Do you mind if I look in this drawer real quick? I'm so sorry. This truly is turning into like a legit little video store dive to try and find the movie we want to talk about. I'm making you stand awkwardly.
Oh, I'm just showcasing.
Spooky?
Spooky.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, dang. I don't know where that DVD went. Are you making our cat villainous?
Yes.
Oh my god. What a crazy boy he is. Okay, I watched a movie called Long Weekend. No, this is relevant. I watched a movie called Long Weekend, which is a Australian Ozploitation movie from the writer of Road Games. It's about this awful couple who are so mean to each other and such terrible people who just go out on a camping trip into the wilderness, leaving just dead animals and trash and just being shitty people, and then mystical forces of nature, including a crying baby seal that won't leave them alone, basically hunt them down, and it's a revenge. It's like a weird mystical revenge story of nature getting even with terrible yuppies. It was awesome.
That sounds good.
Actually really good. It's like not like The Happening style corny. Like they managed to do it in very cool ways. And it's almost like it almost like worked like a haunted house movie, but camping.
Interesting. I love that.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
It was good. Okay, I'll just keep going through what I watched as well. Sheesh, I just want to blast through, you know?
Yeah, we already mentioned a few times that we watched Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains. I think is a top contender for Get the Look for me.
Yes.
Also would be a great double feature with Gaga 502.
Yes, it would. I've recommended Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains before as a staff pick.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my favorite movies. This is like an essential rock and roll movie. Just a quick cap. Laura Dern, Diane Lane, teenagers, like baby versions of themselves, start like this girl punk band and basically compete with a angry version of the Sex Pistols or the Clash. And they're on tour with like an angry version of Kiss, and it's this intergenerational thing about how everyone gives you bullshit advice on the road and rock and roll and everything sucks, but ultimately money's gonna win. And it's this kind of like weirdly cynical but also punk rock movie that's full of beautiful 80s fashion and is basically an alternate history for the rise of the Go-Go's. It kicks much ass.
Oh, it's so good. Actually, that is probably going to be my staff pick for the week.
Nice.
Former staff pick of your.
Well, there you go. I love that it was swapped. Double feature for this. I would agree. The Gaga doc. Also, I would say Streets of Fire, if you want two Diane Lane behind a microphone movies. Or Josie and the Pussycats.
Call back to... I think it was Munson. Yeah.
I love this movie. It's too slept on.
Almost Famous.
Oh, yeah. That'd be fun. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
That'd be a fun, really fun double feature.
We watched Meet the Feebles. Stephanie, you've never seen Meet the Feebles. I mean, if you've seen it, you know it. It's Peter Jackson's second movie. It's X-rated parody of the Muppets. What did you think?
You know, I gotta say, like, you kind of built it up to where I thought it was going to be, like, honestly, way more... I mean, it was fucked up in a lot of ways, but you sort of, like... maybe I had some preconceived notions that it was going to be, like, really crossing some lines. Which, obviously... It does. Like, it's gross, and it's violent, and it's puppets doing things puppets should not be doing. I gotta say that I was pretty impressed with, like, the narrative. Like, it actually, like, you know, told a pretty decent story.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't really ever thought of that. I take that for granted, but Peter Jackson, like, he's there to have fun, but it's like you're entertained because the story's good. Like, the beats work.
Yeah, I was never, like, I didn't really have a wondering moment. I was, like, pretty engaged the whole time, and like I said, I was just surprised that, like, the story at its core that was being told was actually pretty compelling.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And obviously very impressive puppetry going on here.
I mean, I would 100% agree. I feel like I watched this movie in high school and was so coming at it so firmly from the, like, what fucked up stuff is happening camp that I've taken it for granted for years, and hearing you say that just now wrinkled my brain in this moment live on Twitch, because I'm like, oh my god, yeah, all the threads work so well.
They do. It's actually a really well told narrative.
Really well told, like, backstage drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the you know, the hero, the main guy, what's the word I'm looking for? Not the hero, the protagonist.
Wobot?
Yeah, Wobot the puppet. He's actually a complicated figure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because you go into it, you're like, oh, he's so cute. He has this little, he talks like this, and he's like, oh, I'm just a little sweet little guy. Don't look at me. But then he's like a misogynist.
He's
he's
an accidental misogynist.
Unwitting misogynist.
He's a nice guy misogynist who learns his lesson.
Yes.
But the movie, like, takes the time to explore that.
I know, it really does. Yeah.
Well, speaking of freaky deaky puppets, this was what I double featured that with, Meet the Feebles. I would say double feature the Meet the Feebles with The Muppets Take Manhattan. Honestly, just coin the two sides of the coin that shit. Double feature Return to Oz with The Neverending Story. I'm sorry, but they're both about falling into an alternate world and having to save it and being terrified the entire time. This movie's so awesome. I love it so much. I truly loved rewatching it. Like, it is just set piece after set piece after idea after idea. It's horrifying, sure, but it's that fun sort of, like, kid scared of monsters feeling, not, like, scared of, you know, real things feeling.
So Munson J is saying Return to Oz Nightmare Fuel, loved it, just fucked me up as a kid. I have to agree with that completely. I don't think that this is, like... I think this is Nightmare Fuel. I think that Return to Oz is, like, true existential dread in, like,
on a yellow brick road.
I mean, fair. And the funny thing is on the cover is everyone looking happy walking down the yellow brick road with the Emerald City in the background. Sorry, kids. Actually, the Emerald Brick Road and the Emerald City are in ruins the entire movie.
Yeah. This one I did not watch with you, but as a kid, I did watch this movie maybe 6 or 7 times. And yeah, it is...
Overkill.
It's intense. I would definitely recommend this movie, though. Pathos saying that he's never seen it. You gotta watch it.
Pathos?
You've gotta watch it.
Pathos, you have to watch this.
And then watch The Craft.
That's a great double. Yeah, little Fairuza Balk plays Dorothy. I really want to get this movie on Blu-ray. I loved watching it on this tape. This is the first tape release. It felt like, I don't know, it felt really good watching the tape. It felt right. And I loved it. But there's a Blu-ray of it, and the fucked up thing, Stephanie, is that the Blu-ray was only made for members of the Disney Movie Rewards Club, and therefore this movie has never been upgraded. Its rights were briefly in the hands of Anchor Bay in the 90s, and then snatched back from Disney, who seems has no desire to put it out on a Blu-ray, probably because of its edgy status and reputation. And so there's just a Blu-ray out there from the Disney Movie Rewards Club that's very hard to find. And likely that this movie will languish in the old Anchor Bay DVD and tape. Anyway, just another weird example of movies that you take for granted as being like, oh, that kid's movie, I saw it 1,000,000 times.
Yeah.
I never would think that would be in danger of being available for people to watch. Maybe it's on Disney Plus and I'm wrong about that. That would be nice.
Oh.
Maybe I'm going to look, because if it is, Pathos, you owe it to... If you're a fan of things like Labyrinth and Neverending Story, you owe it to yourself to check this one out, because it's right at home with all that. It is currently streaming. Well, there you go.
Oh.
So everyone go watch that on your Disney Plus, because it's the bomb. And then, holy shit, and then finally, besides our movie club pick, we last night very impulsively watched Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping, which I don't have much to say other than I really love The Lonely Island Crew. I think this movie's really fun. I laughed very consistently. Great late night comedy.
That would be exactly my thoughts and feelings. Great late night comedy. Also, let's just that would be another fun one to watch with any pop diva documentary or pop diva movie. I really loved this. Most of you who are regulars of the video store know that I am a huge fan of Christopher Guest. I always have been. This felt like kind of a modern take on a Christopher Guest moment. Just really fun. And I felt like, I felt like it, I know it's only 6 years old.
Yeah, 5.
But even in this last 5 years, I feel like there's a kind of a threshold in comedy where it's like, does this hold up?
Right.
And I feel like it does.
I feel like it really held up.
Yeah.
I loved it. Munson J, Popstar is a riot. That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
Great job, nerds. Popstar is so great. I agree. This is what happened. We finished Enter the Dragon. It was probably 12:30 or 1 in the morning. It was late. And we watched an episode of Jeopardy. And I don't know what happened, if it was a clue. I know. We were scrolling through Hulu idly. And we saw Palm Springs, which I want to watch in earnest.
Yeah, and I've seen. And I was like, oh, it's a Lonely Island thing. And then you were like, oh, you know what we should watch? You go, do you want to watch right now Popstar?
I said, have you seen Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping? And you were like, what's that? I was like, you've never seen it? It's a Lonely Island pop parody. You're like, no, I don't know what that is. And I was like, do you want to watch it right now?
Right now. It was 1:30 in the morning.
We'll
and
put
I was
it on and it rolls.
Yes, I do. Why not? Oh man, what a fun movie. I'm also I forget that actor's name, but the guy who plays the DJ, I'm like,
Jorma? Jorma Chacon?
Jorma
Chacon?
Is that his name?
Yeah, he's one of the co-directors of it, too.
I'm, like, very attracted to that actor.
Have you seen him on Girls?
Have
you seen him on Girls where he shoves Marnie up against a wall and says, I'm gonna fuck you like you've never been fucked by anyone? Because I was like, do you want a private moment with that clip?
I never finished Girls. I think I got like 2.5 seasons in, and
Jorma is very sexual in his cameo on Girls.
I don't know if that would be.
He plays kind of an asshole.
I was about to say
It's like hot asshole.
I don't know.
It was described to me by female friends as hot asshole.
Yeah.
This is not my read of it. I just thought he was annoying.
Maybe it was this role.
I love Jorma.
Maybe it's this role in particular, or something more akin to what I hope he's like in real life.
Like fun, nice.
Like fun, sweet, yeah.
I think this is why. Yeah, the creepy asshole artist. That's right.
Now I'm remembering it, and I wasn't attracted to him.
Well, he was referred to. I was told by a girlfriend that his character might make me like girls more, and I was confused by it. But I thought maybe he was some sex symbol. Apparently not. I haven't seen Girls, so I don't know the full context. I never liked Girls. I always was like, everyone stopped trying to make me watch Girls.
Wedge, hello, welcome.
Welcome, Wedge.
Welcome, Wedge. Here's the welcome wagon for watching out Wedge. I have not seen Bash Bros, but I will say Palm Springs, I agree, was really fun, really great. I'm excited to rewatch it with you, Adam.
Sweet. I'm going to write it down. I can't wait. And yes, Jorma is a total babe. And I think that also what makes these pop star work and what made Hot Rod work is the fact that these guys all are what they appear. They are a group of friends who have been making comedy shorts and sketches with each other for years. Yeah,
and also, like, I know that, the Lonely Island stuff is obviously played for parody, but, their songs are bops.
For real. That's why I think it's so cool that there's that Weird Al cameo at the end of this movie. Because, do you recognize him? Weird Al's the guy at the Grammys or whatever. Is like, welcome. He's in this weird, does not look like Weird Al.
Interesting.
But I think that's nice because similarly, it's a group. Weird Al, just like Lonely Island, is known for their comedy, and then you're like, but they're such good songwriters. Same with Trey Parker. Trey Parker, Weird Al, and Lonely Island. I'm like, these guys are writing fucking bops though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like that.
Bibbidi boppity boo.
Yeah, not gay. But if I was, I want equal rights. I'm not gay. But if I was, good shit. Oh my god.
Directing, too.
We are 2 hours into the show and have not even gotten to new arrivals.
Oh boy. So, okay, let's just power through new arrivals.
Speed through them. We'll speed through them. We'll get to movie club. Okay.
We're sweating.
Gonna do like a 5 to 10 minute new arrivals.
We already
section,
heard the vacuum, y'all.
Which is usually the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Sports, chicken wings. Yes. Oh, that's just so good. And Andy Samberg is just like watchable. All right, hang on, new arrival now. Let's make this real quick. I went to Amoeba Hollywood, as I mentioned earlier in the stream. Amoeba Hollywood, big old record store. They just reopened not too long ago. I went down there, my first time going to the new spot, and I found some cool stuff. So I had a fun little retail therapy day, and I'm going to show you what I found.
Is that your stack?
This is the stack. It's not all from that trip. This is also eBay stuff and random stuff that I haven't shown.
It's so much.
It's not that much. It's also gift box stuff. See, it's not going to take that long. First of all, let's go through the... It's really not going to take that long. You're being too concerned, Stephanie.
No, I just got the giggles.
Well, my life. Okay, cool. Here's what I got from Amoeba Hollywood. First of all, let's tear this Band-Aid off. This movie sucks. It's called Even Hitler Had a Girlfriend. This is a straight-to-video, shot-on-video, terrible movie about, it really, like, I don't even know what it's about. It's about a guy alone in a hotel room being sad, and occasionally there's some boobs on his TV. This movie's so stupid, but has a special place in my heart because I rented it with one of my best friends in high school from the video store I worked at in Iowa City explicitly to make fun of it because we thought it sounded so absurd. It ended up being just bad, not fun, bad. And when I saw it, a cheap-ass version of it at the store, I was like, okay, I'll get that for the archives. I'll probably never watch it again, but basically buying that one for pure nostalgia. Got this really cool double feature box set of 2 nunsploitation movies. I say really cool because they're actually both great movies. The first one is School of the Holy Beast, an infamous Japanese nunsploitation. By the way, nunsploitation is just like, it's exactly what it sounds like. Exploitation movie, typically very sexual, about nuns or nuns with mania or sexual hysteria. The other one is Beyond Convent Walls, which is actually directed by Valerian Borowczyk, an incredible Polish... Whoa! Will you intercept that?
Hey-oh. What is that?
That is bad doggery.
I got her.
You sure?
Yeah.
We can switch if you want.
No, it's okay.
Love that dog. Boy, is she loud. Anyway, a Polish art filmmaker who was described as one of the few genius pornographers in cinema history. So finding this box set was cool. I had no idea the same company even put these movies both out. What's cooler about it is that they're both out of print and super pricey, and I happen to have already owned School of the Holy Beast, which means that I basically get to sell my old copy of School of the Holy Beast and pay for the remainder of this trip to the store, which has never happened to me before, which was cool, obviously. Speaking of Christopher Guest, I didn't know about this movie. It's called The Big Picture. This is Christopher Guest's directorial debut. I do not think it's a mockumentary. I think it's straight up like Hollywood parody, but similar like crazy characters in show business. I got this one for Stephanie because she's such a Christopher Guest mega fan.
Guest head.
Guest head. I gotta open this up again too. The movie sounds awful. Bork had to step up and I'm back to hear the word exploitation several times. Dog was alerting you to possibly non-existent outside dangers. Yes.
It was a jogger.
We love having our windows open, but the dog is just learning.
It wasn't even a dog. It was just somebody going for a little jog.
Exploitation does get tossed around a lot. Even Hitler Had a Girlfriend is awful. Here's the plot. The plot is like, oh, I'm so sad. I'm spending all my money on call girls. In reality, it's just a cheap movie a guy made with a friend, I suppose, where it's mostly a guy looking at himself in the mirror, doing inner monologues, a few shots of the clouds going over the moon, and then every once in a while, a girl appears on the TV and rubs her boobs and is like, "I could love you, not." It's weird. It's like trying to be like a sex art film. Fails to be sexy or artful. The Washing Machine. Ruggero Deodato, director of Cannibal Holocaust. It is a movie he made about a killer who puts bodies in a washing machine. It's kind of hard to find. They had it for $3. You best believe I picked that up. This is a movie that is a co-production between Golden Harvest and Warner Brothers called He's a Woman, She's a Man, or strike that. Nope, He's a Woman, She's a Man. That's the right order. A gender-bending comedy based on... what is this based on? Victor Victoria. Speaking of gender-bending musicals, and continuing down that path, found this cool copy of Luchino Visconti's The Damned. Luchino Visconti was a fantastic master of Italian filmmaking who... we often talk about Italian filmmaking on this program. We talk about the genre aspects of it, the trashier aspects, not, you know what I mean, like cannibal stuff. Luchino Visconti is like a... beautifully curated frames, like elegant, opulent filmmaking, big filmmaking, elegance. The Damned, and then I found this movie, Luis Buñuel's The El Bruto. Luis Buñuel, when he fled the fascist regime in Spain of Federico Franco, went to Mexico, where he made some of my favorite films because they are all kind of like Italian neorealism, but shot in Mexico in the 50s. This one's called El Bruto. Never even knew this existed. Found it because Amoeba has a director's section and they're for sale, which is super cool. Found it under Buñuel. Was like, what's this? Getting it. And finally, from that trip, Eyes of Laura Mars, one of my favorites. I think someone on this stream before referred to Eyes of Laura Mars as an American giallo, and I would 100% agree with that. I forget who it was. Maybe Glowcat, I think. Glowcat, who now does their own stream on Tuesday nights.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, so that's the Amoeba Hollywood trip. Again, the Nunsploitation thing paid for the whole trip because I'm going to be able to flip one, which is great. Yes, it is Tuesday, and favorite Tom Hanks movie, Toy Story.
Sleepless in Seattle.
And we also got some stuff in from, and welcome, by the way, Stone
Welcome,
Cashew.
Stone Cashew. We are doing our new arrivals right now. Welcome to You Are in a Video Store.
Welcome. And speaking of Glowcat, I'm in a fun VHS group with them. We just did a Spring Fling box swap. So I got some presents from a group member who got me, my Secret Santa, as it were. I haven't seen any of these. So excited to watch the Banana Splits movie, which is the live-action horror version of the Banana Splits. Goodnight Mommy, which is a German horror film from a few years ago. I've also never heard of.
Oh, we got 2 votes for Apollo 13, just real quick.
Nice. Apollo 13 popping up. The Burbs. I almost said The Burbs.
Oh, The Burbs.
That's a great
one.
one.
Good one.
It's a great one.
Jay.
I would love to get into some Joe Dante on this show. Some Burbs, some Gremlins, Gremlins 2. Mm-hmm. And we're talking Small Soldiers.
Fun.
Love Small Soldiers. And then Helix, which is a TV show, apparently with Ronald D. Moore as a showrunner, who did Battlestar. I never heard of it, but these were gifts from my Secret Santa, so thank you. And we want to talk about a couple Amazon things that we got on the cheap this week. Dave Chappelle's Black Party and The River Wild. Strike that, reverse it. Gotta watch these, Stephanie. Gotta watch those.
I'm excited about both of those. River Wild, I have not seen. Black Party, it's been probably a decade.
Black Party is my favorite concert movie.
It's so good.
Period.
So good.
And then finally, got some fun tapes. These are just eBay tapes. Actually, one of them is from an independent video store in Asheville, North Carolina called Orbit DVD, which has an online store and picks up a lot.
Cute.
So it's always nice to support them.
Cute!
I was able to get this, which I've wanted on tape forever from them. And this is The Wild at Heart. One of my favorites. And that's the original... There's a company called Video Treasures, which picked up a lot of rights to stuff and reissued it on lower quality tapes with similar cover art or identical cover art. And oftentimes, for some of the movies you're looking for, the Video Treasures one is the one you'll see everywhere, but it's kind of a bad transfer of the movie. This is the original media release of Wild at Heart, first tape of it, and so it's that nicer, warmer, long play quality.
Yeah, and Laura Dern is...
smoking.
Stunning in this movie. Just gonna say that.
Oh yeah, she is. True movie star. Movie star shit in that movie. Banana Splits, aka Five Nights at Freddy's. That's funny. I don't know anything about Five Nights at Freddy's. But now that you say that, from the aesthetics I've seen, rings a bell. These two are both from the eBays. Baxter, which honestly I got on a total whim. Because I used to see this at a video store called The Hut in Iowa City when I was younger and want to rent it, never did. And then Food of the Gods Part 2. This one, this honestly just arrived because I was watching it on eBay. And if you use eBay and you watch things, you know, sometimes you get sent an offer. They sent me a good offer and I said, sure. I'm really excited to watch this. Food of the Gods 1 is based on an H.G. Wells short story about animals eating basically like steroidal GMO food and becoming gigantic. It's a really fun effects-driven cornball movie from the 50s age, or atomic age, carried on to the 60s. Someone got the rights and made a gore-filled, super hard R pivot sequel to it that I'm really excited to watch.
Did we make it through new arrivals?
We did, and I think in the 10 minutes that was promised. I need more water again. Oh, you don't have to get it. I'll keep talking. Hey y'all, before we get into the final portion of the show, just say, quick housekeeping, recap, station ID. You are watching You Are in a Video Store on twitch.tv/UltraLoop, or if you're fancy, you can just hit ultraloop.live in your URL, in your address bar now.
Yes, and I am one of your hosts and store clerks, Stephanie Thoreson, aka DJ Stephanie Michelle in the chat, aka Flock of Schmeagles on Instagram.
I'm your other host, Adam Protextor, which is just Protextor on Instagram. You can also follow this show on Instagram at You Are in a Video Store, where we post whatever our movie club picks are, random new arrivals, fun picks from the collection of cool shit we want to show off. And as the world opens back up and we get our vaccinated butts back into it,
Just driving out, trying to find little video stores, or hey, going to Universal Studios. Who knows?
Digging, etc. And Pathos already on it.
Thank you, Pathos.
They are very misunderstood dogs. And we thank you not only for pointing that out, but for dropping the link to our YouTube channel, which is where we archive everything we do. You can also watch other fun things we've made and preview for our sitcom over there. Mm-hmm. So we got a lot coming from House Day Baby Lion.
Yes, House Day Baby Lion. And we have gotten through our first 2 segments of our show. We always open the show with What Did You Watch? An open forum for discussing what we watched this week and kind of going off on tangents about double features or different genres, genre theories. Moving into our new arrivals, which is typically Adam's bag. Literally.
Yeah, literally. Which we just did a hyper version, which is just like, did anything fun come in the mail this week? Mm-hmm. And clearly some fun stuff. Look, one of my favorite parts of actually working at a working video store was that on Fridays you get several boxes in the mail, and those are the new releases. Mm-hmm. Legally, they can't hit until their street date of the following Tuesday. Which is, again, why I love doing this show on Tuesdays, also because it's a street date for new release movies.
That's so cute. I did not know that.
Well, it's part of it. And on Friday, if you're working in a video store, you and you open those boxes up. And if you worked at a video store like I worked at that was independent with an owner who liked weird shit, you would, of course, have your 10 copies of Cars 2, your 10 copies of Casino Royale. Well, I was trying to do 2006 movies, but I'm probably wrong about that. Anyway, Miss Congeniality, etc. Yes, I'm just being a dick. You would also find several weird things that he had found. And that's why I like doing this, because I've said it before, but it's all about archiving movies in a physical world so that the digital world can't take them from history. And I don't know. I'm not betting that most of these will be easy to watch in 5-10 years. Exploitation.
Boone William. We need to keep a ticker of how many times we say certain things on here.
I would love for this show to get to a point where people can supercut all the times I say
Masterpiece.
Masterpiece. I have rolled back,
you have
girl.
Rolled back. You have rolled
I
back.
referred to one movie as a masterpiece, to 2 movies as a masterpiece tonight. One was Babe, Pig in the City. I stand by it. And the other was well, maybe that was it. Babe, just Babe.
Yeah, Watch Out Wedge. Miss Congeniality is actually really fun, I gotta say.
I would love to watch that.
It's great. Sandra Bullock is a really wonderful comedian. I don't think people have top of mind.
Yeah.
She's got good timing.
I, at Amoeba, saw, it's not quite the same thing, but same sort of era, Legally Blonde 1 and 2 from Shout Factory. I almost got it, but it's cheaper on their website.
Legally Blonde is so good. That's the perfect sick day movie, by the way.
Y'all need some video store emotes for me to spam. It's Twitch, by the way. Agreed. Well, someone's gonna need multiple maniacs. That shit has, but for real, though, my boss, shout out Ross Meyer, not Russ Meyer, Ross Meyer at That's for Entertainment, who still does independent movie work and programs at an amazing independent theater in Iowa City right now. Really, that dude's taste drove a lot of what we got, because he was the one making sure that we were preserving all the weird stuff, and so much exploitation would come through because of that. Love Legally Blonde.
Same.
Okay, shall we get to our movie club?
Yes!
All right, y'all. Movie Club. If you're a first-time viewer, every week we pick a movie to watch for Movie Club. In April, we celebrated Japanese cinema and tried to bounce around the genres and decades of Japanese film to represent it as best we could. We moved across the pond over into Hong Kong and mainland China to celebrate Chinese cinema in May, and Hong Kong in particular. We started off with a movie that some might say is not fully a Chinese or Hong Kong movie, and to those people I would say absolutely right. It is a Hollywood movie about Hong Kong using the biggest star to ever cross over, Bruce Lee. Maybe now Jackie Chan has eclipsed that, but certainly Bruce Lee as a representative of a giant sea change in Hollywood filmmaking, who really brought the martial arts picture to the States and to international audiences. We're starting with Enter the Dragon. So, Enter the Dragon was Warner Brothers' movie about China, filmed in China, but not made by Hong Kong filmmakers. In fact, I think a British director, I forget the director's name, Arthur Krauss. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is another great example of like a Hollywood movie, but in that case, Ang Lee, who had been working in Hollywood his entire career, deciding to go back to China to pay tribute to it, again using that Hollywood money from Sony. And so yeah, there are a few instances in film history where Hollywood has said, we want to make a Chinese movie. Enter the Dragon, Crouching Tiger being the two big ones, and the ones that really like showed martial arts to Americans.
I was like,
So, with that said, there's Enter the Dragon. There's our poster for Enter the Dragon.
Whoa!
You get over here. I was blocking your face, so I'm going to put her over here for tonight.
This movie was sick.
It was sick. It was so sick. I got to adjust the lights in here. Actually, I think we can probably just bonk that. Oh my goodness. We just can't get it, can we? One thing we have in common with video stores more than we have in common with movies is our terrible lighting.
Yes.
Holden Wook said Crouching Tiger was the first DVD I ever purchased because I was trying to be cool like my friend who was older than me. Oh wait, that was Adam. Yeah. I bought that on DVD too. That's awesome. I had no idea, but I'm glad that I influenced you to buy a movie on DVD because that's what this life is all about. Yes, I think maybe we saw that in theaters together too. I still have, funnily enough, since it's been brought up quite organically, I bet I can find this in less time than it took me to not find the other one.
Okay, well, while Adam's doing that, it's funny because we were talking about Meet the Feebles, and I was saying, like, I was, very surprised by how, what's that?
It's
the ticket.
It's my DVD copy of Crouching Tiger,
so
Hidden
cute.
Dragon with my ticket stub from seeing it in theater with, I think, Holden Wook tucked inside there. I put it in there when I got this DVD, and this DVD was put out 21 years ago. So for 21 years, that ticket stub's been on the shelf.
Wow.
Under
Cute.
L for Lee.
Cute.
I love that movie.
Yeah, sweet. So sweet. Oh, great.
Sorry.
So we were talking, so it's okay. So we were talking about Meet the Feebles, and I was saying how I was actually, like, really caught off guard by how, well the narrative was explored
Right.
and the story was told. If I do have a criticism of Enter the Dragon, I think it is, the plot is a little spotty.
For sure.
And I know that with martial arts movies, that's not, like, you're not necessarily there for the plot.
You're probably not there for the plot, but at least, I think this plot, I think the reason that maybe it feels messier than other plots of, like, martial arts movies is because most martial arts movies would center Bruce Lee and have that be that. I think this movie centers its American actors in an attempt to, they're not fully trusting Bruce Lee as a movie star who can...
I was saying bridge.
Oh, yeah. They're not fully trusting him, so they're co-billing him. Like, him co-billed with John Saxon is crazy.
Yeah.
I love John Saxon, but he is not a movie star like Bruce Lee became a movie star.
Yeah.
But at the time, that and then introducing Jim... Nothing's cooler than that and introducing Jim Kelly. Like, Jim Kelly's so cool. But, like, those two guys, John Saxon and Jim Kelly, get centered so much as, like, the American. And I think that is why the plot... I think it's because this movie is trying to do something for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I think, maybe there's a lesson there.
Right.
plot-wise.
Well, I mean, it's because it's trying to introduce Bruce Lee as a major movie star. It's trying to introduce Americans to the structure of what a Hong Kong movie would look like, which might look like very much like an evil older master who has an army he's training. Like, that's a plot as old as time, except instead of it being taking place in maybe like ancient China, updating it to now, let's make it edgy by making it about drugs and women because it's the 70s, so let's have a crime gritty element, and then let's also incorporate Jim Kelly, even with like funk music put behind it, to take advantage of the growing black cinema action movement that's happening in America. And let's throw in John Saxon just to have something for Poughkeepsie.
Yeah.
It's so much.
It's so much. Speaking of funk music, Wedge, 100% agree with you. The soundtrack whips.
Yeah. It's a really cool, like, version of something that I think has been happening in pop culture, and especially anime, for a long time. But really, the soundtrack is a combination of its characters, because they're, in so much as they're bringing in blaxploitation, martial arts, and American crime. It's really the three soundtracks those things would be known for, like the classical Chinese instrumentation combined with the classical American instrumentation combined with the funk. Really, like, and you see that in anime, especially with Japanese and Black American culture, like, merging, like, so much so in hip-hop and Japan. Has been such an interplay between American and Japanese pop culture. We love it. It's literally my favorite thing, is how Japan and America play with each other. It's not really my favorite thing. I throw that word around a lot.
Yes. It's another one we could get a ticker going.
Whatever, dude. I like to like things. Okay, Rush Hour, not to go down that road again. We need to have a Rush Hour corner for every episode. I love that you've been driving around blasting the soundtrack, and I love that Holdenwook's going to go see if he has the ticket stub of Crouching Tiger as well. Pre-Superbit, the first dish. Superbit was a pre-Blu-ray idea where some companies would eliminate all special features and dedicate the maximum amount of disc space on a disc to the picture. And a few movies came out that way in special packaging. I think Fifth Element, Crouching Tiger, and Panic Room in particular got super bit releases. Don't make me collect all the super bit releases.
Please don't.
Better Mortal Kombat movie than both of the Mortal Kombat movies combined. That is the other thing. Part of the reason we picked this is that Mortal Kombat's in the zeitgeist again, and it is the plot. I mean, it's the plot. It's what the game of Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, both of those games, as many games did, is their plot is just like, it's this movie's plot, kind of, but with magic. That's what this is. Tournament on an island.
I'm curious, as a rapper, do you have any thoughts on the ties with Enter the Dragon and hip hop?
I mean, the influence of martial arts on hip hop is just like.
But this movie in particular is like kind of. Right? Isn't it sort of the touch point of...
I wouldn't say... I think it's prototypical and a little before that. I do think as a touch point, yes, but what I would argue is that the kids who grew up going to see... Okay, here's the thing. It all boils down to where the movie theaters are, which is a really interesting thing about how looking at film history has to change with distribution modes changing, especially with everything coming out in our houses now. But if you look at that, then you know that you're gonna see, like, especially in New York, like, let's make it just about hip hop. Let's simplify it. Let's put it in New York. Where are those cheap theaters that are going to be showing action movies with an A and a B, just like we talked about them doing with Female Prisoner and action TNA action movies in Japan? Same thing. 70s are all about, okay, TV is a very strong cultural force. We need to make movies for cheaper, and we need butts in the seats. So this is where the exploitation comes in. It's where what can we mine to make people, they can't see this on TV, right? So it's a movie star, or it's TNA and nudity, or it's extreme violence, or it's stories that reflect maybe a more hyperbolized still, but maybe a more like gritty reality that looks like the world we live in, not sitcom reality. Mm-hmm. So, you have action movies, particularly Hong Kong martial arts movies coming in, but there's a lot of them. It's not just Bruce Lee. And I actually, one major one I want to look up is the Street Fighter, which is 1974. Okay, Sonny Chiba. Not to be confused with the Street Fighter franchise. But basically, the Street Fighter did really well at these, like, they call it Grindhouse now. I don't even know if people used to call it that. Whatever. These Grindhouse theaters, these cheaper theaters, especially in New York, would have martial arts movies. Of course, Enter the Dragon was a big one, but Enter the Dragon was a big martial arts movie in the way Shaft was a big blaxploitation movie, which is to say, this is for everybody. It's no longer a secret that's being kept by genre fans. It's like, oh, this thing caught on, let's give it more money and see how it does. Mm-hmm. So, Enter the Dragon, I think, certainly influenced more, but more importantly, it's part of a cycle that was playing in the 70s. And then who's growing up in the 70s, but kids who are also listening to black music of the 70s, who would go on to be the generation after the generation that invented hip-hop, because disco in the 70s was becoming hip-hop, which was becoming Sugar Hill, which was becoming Grandmaster Flash, which was becoming what supergroup would happen in the 90s. Who grew up on all that? Wu-Tang. And that's when RZA is basically the Tarantino of hip-hop and is like, hey, I'm influenced by all of this, I want you to watch it too. And then that catches fire with the kids who didn't grow up watching it. And then by that point, they've got their own Bruce Lee, and his name is Jackie Chan, and he's doing things in a new way. And so, like, yes, I believe that marginalized cultures in inner cities where all that culture is intersecting form the basis of the most powerful aspects of American pop culture? 100%. Mm-hmm. Do I think that Asian American and Black American cultures, especially in New York City, created that interplay that exists till to this day? Yeah, absolutely. And it's awesome.
I'm glad I asked you that question, because I knew you would, like, you know.
Because I would give you the passionate answer.
Yes.
That's honestly how I feel. And yeah, Samurai Champloo is another one that was big. Afro Samurai also. And that's just animation from the teens. Like, it continues, because now we're at a space where it doesn't matter where your movie theater is. And so it matters what are you interested in, because you can find it all online. And what are you interested in is going to be defined by who you're following. And so now you see things go from no longer maybe as a kid at a theater watching an afternoon movie after school. It's a kid who follows anime, who sees a bunch of rappers tweeting about anime. It's just evergreen now. And now, like, honestly, I like being able to go on little rants like that, because I get really excited about the history of pop culture, especially black culture in America. And I feel bad for people who are going to be nerds like us in 30 years trying to document how everything happened, because it is so much easier to be able to say, well, they were at this address where this person also, they were at Studio 54, they were all there together. It's so much harder to say, well, like, okay, so he started a Clubhouse group and he invited his friend and they did a 3-hour talk on Sailor Moon, which then I pity future historians.
Yeah. Good point.
Whew. Okay. Well, there it was. There it is, y'all.
There it was. There it is.
There it was. There it is.
Any other thoughts from the chat on Enter the Dragon? I think we all agree that this movie was great. It was fun.
I had a friend on Twitter, a friend I know through the hip-hop scene, a friend on Twitter who I had a brief dialogue with earlier about this before we started the stream, because I tweeted about watching it, and he was just making the point that you forget how many things came from this movie. You watch it and it's like a collection of cliches. Mm-hmm. Bad guy tasting his own blood.
Yeah.
The knife hand fight.
I totally had that thought while we were watching it. I was like, is this the genesis of all of these things that we've seen, not only repeated but satirized?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty interesting stuff. By the way, maybe it's that weird. Y'all know, if you're regulars of the store, that I have a weird uncanny valley thing especially with hands, like the Grinch. Don't get me started.
Don't get her started.
The bear attachment in particular, I did not like. No, I think that is a weird mix of great job, nerds, if you're still out there, and everyone who was here for our lengthy discussion on Midsommar. That was like a weird Midsommar meets Jim Carrey's The Grinch moment for me that I was not here for.
Jim Summer.
Yeah.
Jim Summer. Mid-carry.
These edibles are strong.
It really, like, made me feel uncomfortable. Also reminded me of Return to Oz.
Interesting.
Just the display cases with all the different hand attachments really had like a Return to Oz feel to it.
Yeah.
I felt the same way about the opening sequence with their fighting gloves, the way they sort of bubbled over. Anyways, that's my weird stuff with like.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Has nothing to do with the merits of the film.
Pathos loved the mirror scene. I mean, the mirror scene is so classic and amazing.
Mirror scene was.
But also a list of the things on the like cliches, like the funhouse mirror fight.
For sure.
There's so much, and it's just like. Now, I'm sure not. I don't think this movie did all of it for the first time. I'm sure it's borrowing from plenty that we maybe will never see.
But maybe this is where these things were all crystallized and kind of brought together.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what happens is that, and that's using Tarantino as an example, people give him a hard time because he's a singularly identifiable, personified version of something Hollywood has been doing since the dawn of Hollywood, which is... there's all these movies and they all have, let's cherry pick the coolest stuff, put it all into one thing, give that the budget, and then that catches fire, and then those things become mimetic. Mm-hmm. Then at that point, then the tasting the blood is in every action movie.
Yeah.
Or even John Woo, that Two Guns, I'm not saying John Woo stole that is him, but by the time you get to John Woo doing it over and over, and then by the time he doesn't Mission Impossible, then everyone who didn't watch any of that Hong Kong stuff is like, Two Guns, flying through the air, that's cool.
Yeah.
And this gets us back into genre theory, my friends, which I will never shut up about. This is awesome movie. Really, I'm so fascinated by Bruce Lee because he is so trained from a variety of different masters and was in I read that he was in 20 movies before age 20 or 18 movies before age 20. He was a child actor. He was an entertainer from the start. And so he knows how to be in front of a camera. And it's interesting because I think the mythology of Bruce Lee often is that he was the best fight. The way I always thought of him, I will say, not that anyone told me this, the way that I always just think my brain thought of him as a youngin' was this was the greatest martial artist in the world. And he was so successful at that he became tapped to be a movie star to showcase it. That's really not the case. He was an actor who decided to concentrate on martial arts and philosophy because it's what interested in him, and then he became maybe the greatest in the world. I don't know enough about martial arts and the point scoring system of those things. He certainly became the best on-screen martial artist in the world because he was ultimately trained to be a movie star. I think it's so interesting that his journey is just so interesting because he really was, his whole life was really leading him to be the ambassador of a gigantic culture of filmmaking to the biggest film industry in the world. And from there, he becomes a legend, and then his untimely, tragic death becomes, solidifies his place as this icon throughout history. Mm-hmm. You really do, I'm so interested, though, in, as with many people, would we be seeing Bruce Lee show up in the Expendables 4 if he was alive today? Would, what, and not to say that's a bad thing, but, to what degree would he have become maybe a spiritual leader who retired from the spotlight, or would he have become, an Arnold, or, as someone that we look to as, anyway, it's difficult to talk about icons like this because they mean so much to so many people, but, he's just a specifically interesting career case. And Enter the Dragon isn't just his entrance into Hollywood, but martial arts entrance into the mainstream game, I suppose.
Yeah.
I have not seen the documentary. No, I have not. But we did talk about getting into some documentaries.
We did. And sorry to keep
fire.
bringing the cat into the stream tonight. He's been having some tummy troubles, and he just keeps getting into snacks that he's not supposed to be into.
That's why you have tummy troubles, buddy. If only he could associate the two.
He was sitting in our cast iron pan like a cartoon character, eating between his legs the remnants of the turkey burger I made for lunch.
That sounds good. Missed your turkey burger. That sounds really interesting. Dragon Bruce Lee documentary in 1993. Yeah. I remember when that came out. Oh, I didn't realize that was a doc. I remember that. I can see the cover art. I didn't realize that was a documentary. I think that was one as a kid I saw on the shelf a million times and just wasn't ever interested. I was like, I don't know who Bruce Lee is. And no one in my big brother sphere wanted to tell me. Just going to make up the word big brother sphere to refer to any older peers who show you cool things at a formative age. Interesting. Fascinating.
Right. Do we have that one written down? Write that one down.
Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, I think is what it's called.
Well, Adam, we are approaching hour 3, the end of hour 3 of our stream. We have gone over tonight. Shall we move into...
That's not how long we used to go.
That's true.
But yes, I'm picking up what you're throwing down.
Yeah, should we slide on into our movie pick for next week? Roll.
Kirby powers.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah, okay, y'all.
Are we staying on that Hong Kong tip?
I would like to, but I'm also okay to... Look, I don't think that we have... With Enter the Dragon, I do not feel as though we've firmly stepped into Hong Kong filmmaking for all the reasons we've talked about. We could. I think really last week we all discovered that we had not seen enough Bruce Lee, and so we kind of made a choice together to watch it. So I'm glad that we all got to. It could be, I think the way we framed it last week was this could be our step into Hong Kong or not. I just said not 10 minutes ago that it would be. So I'm happy to keep that promise and to keep going into Hong Kong. God knows I have plenty of stuff I want to watch.
Yeah.
But we can also left field this and totally play it looser in May or whatever.
Anyone in the chat have any thoughts? Feel free to drop them. I'm down to go either way. I feel like we've done both. We've kind of just hopped around, and we've also leaned really heavy into themes. And they're both really fun for very different reasons.
Well, Pathos is pitching Rumble in the Bronx, and now I'm like, well, if watching more Hong Kong means we get to watch Jackie, well then, and Hard Boiled, I think we look. I think there's so much great Hong Kong stuff that we would love, and I think that I'm probably going to end up eating up a lot of my weird Tai Sang imports with their bad subtitles on my own just to get that flavor. But I'm talking, we get into Jackie Chan and John Woo and Ringo Lam. And
that sounds fun.
Let's do Samo.
Let's do it.
Ip Man, Wedge has been wanting to go down Ip Man, which I have not seen Ip Man, but that's a newer one, so maybe we can get to that too. That's about the guy who trained Bruce Lee in Wing Chun.
Oh, fun.
Which was the...
It's a fiction?
It's a fictional... It's a narrative based on a true story. Mm-hmm. And there's 4 in that franchise. Also, if we get into Hong Kong, we get into Wong Kar-wai. There's a lot.
Okay,
here.
So look, we've got Rumble in the Bronx, we've got Ip Man, we have John Woo, which... I don't know if we want to just say John Woo or pick a specific.
Oh, I mean, look, I've been trying to get you to watch Hard Boiled for a minute.
Hard Boiled sounds great.
I also, there's a bootleg service called Hong Kong Rescue that's out there that I ordered from 7 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I have emailed multiple times, and I know he'll follow through, but I feel bummed because he did a beautiful looking remaster of Hard Boiled, and I thought we were going to be watching it by now.
Yeah. Hey, let's do a survey. Would you like to take a survey? Anyone?
Let's do it.
Anyone?
Give me 1 second.
We're getting multiple thumbs up for Ip Man.
I know. A lot for Ip Man here.
Holden Look says, let's not forget Cars 2, or Miss Congeniality for that matter.
So, Ip Man was directed by a Hong Kong filmmaker from, and it's a newer one, so that'd be 2008. So it'd be like a fun jump forward.
I like that.
I like it too. I've honestly, like, I've never seen Ip Man, and I just never was that interested in it. So, like, if there's a big push for it.
We've got Pathos, we've got Holden Wook, we've got, I think Wedge was saying it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for that for sure. Let's do a... Do you want to do a poll?
Yeah, let's do a quick poll.
Let's do a poll. I am down for that. I got Okay, here's the thing. Let's talk about Hong Kong filmmaking real quick.
Okay.
Okay, because we've got several little subgenres that I would love for us to hit this month. We've got, like, street city action, guns, which is going to be John Woo, Ringo Lam, City on Fire, what is that other one? Full Contact. Both movies I watched last year. Incredible, awesome possum. Then you've got modern Hong Kong action, modern martial arts like Jackie. Police Story is heavy in the ranking. Rumble in the Bronx. See, when I saw Rumble in the Bronx, I was like, oh, Rumble in the Bronx, done. That's why I'm not trying to be... then we've got, like our wuxia wire work, action filmmaking. We've got melodrama we can get into. We've got, like, sexploitation. We've got Category 3, which is their version of, like, X-rated 4 gore, horror. And we've got, like, magical realism stuff. Like, I, for one, am dying to watch the Blu-ray that I got not too long ago, A Bride with White Hair. Which is, like, Chinese mythology and Chinese supernatural. I'm definitely going to end up buying Mr. Vampire and Encounter of a Spooky Kind, which are two Sammo Hung horror comedy martial arts action movies. We're going to get into it this month. It's going to be great. Peking Opera Blues. One of my... I watched this last year and still have... This is the Hong Kong Rescue disc that I did get because I ordered it first, and then I ordered everything else that got put out, and he's dragging his heels. Anyway, if you're hearing this. Sweetheart. Sweetheart. Anyway, so much great stuff. And then, yes, Jackie Chan, Ringo Lam, Sweetheart. We're going to get into it.
And Pathos, I agree. I love the outtakes in the credits of Jackie Chan movies.
So the reason I mention all this is because I think it's basically like, I would love to hit all this, so where do we start? So Ip Man seems like a smart place to start because it's a direct move from Enter the Dragon. It's also newer. And it's also like historical, biographical drama. And represents kind of like the new wave of martial arts movies. So I think, but also I would be happy to tie a bow on the month by going back in time and then finishing with newer stuff. Anyway. Yeah. Wong Kar-wai, also romance. Oh my god. So, where do we even freaking start? Throw me a freaking bone here.
Throw me a freaking bone here. Still argue that Throw Me a Freaking Bone is the My Wife of Austin Powers.
Threw me a freaking bone here. Anything else I'm missing? Those are good spots to start.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
Oh no, I'm putting this one in.
Oh, nice.
I love it so much. All right, y'all. Where do we even freaking start? So go ahead and vote. We'll pick whatever wins. We will abstain from the vote. I'm not trying to poo-poo Ip Man. It sounded like we had a lot of support. So if we do Ip Man, we do Ip Man. That's great. I just also wanted to not be remiss and say, okay, if we're really doing this month as Hong Kong, we're going to watch a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
So we've got, if we are doing Hong Kong, that means we have 3 weeks left, right? Or is it 4? 4 Tuesdays? 3 Tuesdays?
It's weird because we assign every week, so I guess the next one would be June 1st. We only have 3 weeks to do.
What now?
We only have 3 weeks to do it.
3 more?
3 more, yeah. Okay, well then, Jackie Chan. Was there a Jackie Chan called Enter the Dragon? There is not, but Jackie Chan does appear in Enter the Dragon. I don't know if you noticed it, but after Bruce Lee gets into the control booth and all the guards come down, one of the guys in the brown tunics who gets his neck snapped off camera is Jackie Chan.
Right.
IP Man. That's funny. All right, y'all. So I would also be, since we're trying to do Hong Kong Chinese cinema, God, it's so much to cover. Anytime it's like, let's look at a national cinema, it's like every place has the number of genres we have. It's not any different. It's like, how do we cover all this? We all have 100 years of film of different types.
Yeah. So is it IP Man?
It's Ip Man.
Ip Man.
I believe.
I don't really know anything about that movie. So.
I'm reading Jackie Chan's autobiography right now, and that's very on brand for him. The reason I have a renewed interest in Peking Opera Blues is because it's often considered to be, like, it's one of the blockbusters of Hong Kong. It's one of the movies that was a huge hit for them, that just for cultural reasons didn't translate well. But it's about a Peking opera house. And what I've learned very recently about Chinese opera, in Peking especially, is that it is one of the most demanding art forms in the world, because you have to do gymnastics, martial arts, hold headstands, be a great singer, memorize your lines, do blocking, and no sword fighting, because it incorporates all that. The battles on stage are real, so it's like a combination of martial arts plus gymnastics plus singing.
That sounds amazing.
Right? It's one of the things I would love to see live more than anything.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan got his start at an opera school where he lived, basically at a boarding school away from his parents, from age 6 through high school, learning how to do this, and got his start performing Peking opera. That's why he's so fucking good at everything.
Well, it looks like we got 2 votes for Ip Man. I'm going to go ahead and say that Peking Opera Blues is definitely on the table for the month, but it seems like that, I mean, this list already is like, we could throw anything out there.
I know. Well, what I was going to say is if we only have 3 weeks, maybe we could do double feature weeks. We don't have to.
I think like keeping it to 1 is great with the, note for now.
The only reason I say that is because I thought we could do like martial arts. We could do Ip Man and Rumble in the Bronx. Next week we do Guns in the City and do Hard Boiled and City on Fire. But we don't have to. We can pick one and we can have other stuff. Also, I'm itching to watch another movie that I got on tape not too long ago. That is Sammo Hung blockbuster that never made the jump across the sea, but was also a huge comedy action hit, Pedicab Driver. Which you pulled out.
We almost watched that the other night.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see Pathos's comment about Sammo Hung, or was that just a weird...
I did,
okay.
yeah. Because I was like, oh yeah, Sammo. Because him and Sammo Hung were both in opera school. And Sammo was his big brother, which is what they would refer to as anyone older than them, big sister, big brother, or younger, because it was such a family. So Sammo was also a pioneer of martial arts comedy, but was like just not as, to be honest, like didn't have the same roles. Was kind of like the pudgier normal guy, and Jackie was just like the muscle-bound hotter guy, and his stardom went in a different direction. Okay, let's do Ip Man. Seems like Ip Man is the joint to jam. And also, I think we should use this as an excuse to finally watch the Young Master Blu-ray that we got.
Yes, I agree.
Well, what a wonderful week. What's your staff pick, Boo?
I think my staff pick is gonna be, ladies and gentlemen, Fabulous Stains. I said fabulous.
The Fabulous Stains.
The Fabulous Stains.
He can fucking sing.
The Fabulous Stains.
Movie Club, Ip Man. That's from 2008. Steph's pick is, ladies and gentlemen,
which I mentioned this earlier for those who were here earlier in the stream, but this was a staff pick of Adam's. I think this is our first crossover staff pick.
Whoa, sorry, dude. And shit, I'm weird. I told you I'd do it. I'm doing it. It's called The Bandwagon, and it's my staff pick for the week. Okay, I'm going to take a picture of that so I don't forget to make the graphic after we log off here.
Boop. Oh no. Somebody
stop us.
No, seriously.
Wow, this was great. Thanks for watching tonight, y'all. It's been really wonderful being back Also, not that it matters, but it's been fun. Our numbers have been going back up again, which I think just speaks to the fact that like we all had a really difficult end of the winter and are kind of coming back to life together.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here. Thanks for being here because you're so much more than a number. And I hope that we're more than the disembodied voices ranting about movies on the other side of your screen.
Mm-hmm. And we will figure out the lighting.
We will.
We're going to figure out the lighting.
We're going to lock it down. I need something for it. It, cut, it. It is this. Okay, so lock it down. There we go. Love you, Holden Wook.
Yay, Holden Wook. Aw, thanks, Munson.
You rule. You rule, Munson. Hope you have a great week. You keep it 100, Wedge. Hope you have a great week. Pathos, you didn't... let's respond to the last thing you said. You can fucking sing. You have a great week.
This is so great. Thank you so much to all of our regulars. You really do mean a lot to us. And also to anyone who's new to this stream or watching it in our archives.
That's right. And as always, watch more movies. Be kind, rewind. Black Lives Matter. And get home safe. We got to close up the shop, but we will be open again next week. Follow us on Instagram to play along and have a wonderful night.
You are in a video store. Say you are in...
I knew you could actually sing Pathos. That's why I said it, because I knew.
You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. Store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. Store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. Store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video. From Lubitsch to Mamoulian, Kubrick to Leone, Corbucci and Suzuki, these movies take you to New Orleans. We recommend it, never pretentious, it's never ending, just where our head is. It's one Kauai and a Slaughterhouse 5. Those Hollywood nights are Hong Kong on fire. I could watch it all night, press stop and rewind. Watch it again, you're strapped in, ain't no stopping the ride. Ask Ginger Rogers the time. Swing down to Broadway and lights. Ishii, Miike, Tarkovsky, Almodovar, Von Sternberg, Dietrich, Garbo, Garfield, Heathcliff with Transformers over on the 80s TV show. You need a hand, we can reach it. Move in silence like Bernal Melly is Mishu. Spending afternoons with Maya, then watch Freddy Got Fingered. It's all love for that silver screen, now baby, what that TV do? And we here every week too, so don't you touch that dial, bruh. We ain't skipping the previews. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. Store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. Store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. Store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video. You are in a video. You are in a video. Yeah, welcome to the rental shop. Yeah, welcome to the rental shop. Welcome to the rental shop. Yeah, welcome to the rental shop. Yeah, welcome to the rental shop. Say you are in a video. You are in a video. Rent that shit double. Yeah, 2 for 1, baby, on Tuesday night. Got the popcorn, I'm feeling just right. Should we get a couple new releases and a couple old ones? Yeah, no, I think we can get both. We have time. We'll watch them. Yeah, if we don't get around to that one, I'll pay the lead.